Theory,
and MauLer.
What's the situation?
And Ryan. What's up, guys? How you doing?
And
Welcome
me.
back to another
Hello.
Star Grift. We're here with the boys. How you doing?
Doing awesome. I've lost my mind, apparently.
Oh my god.
I
What a
don't know.
Yeah.
I can't
you're not
believe
losing
what's going on right now in Star Wars. I can't take it anymore, guys. I've lost my mind. Or we needed a good title for the stream. One or the
Yeah.
other. You'll have
Well,
to
we're gonna
watch the
hopefully-
entire thing to figure
Yeah,
it out.
hopefully you'll lose your mind today, so it's not full clickbait. But hey, we got the Bad Batch coming tomorrow, which I know MauLer is super excited for.
Literally just I'm shaken. I'm shooketh.
Do you even know like what the Bad Batch is, like in principle?
I already told you, I guessed, like, oh, it's just gonna be like a botched set of clones that didn't come out right, and then they go off on adventures and they're all dying one by one or something because nobody cares.
Well, they're mutants.
Mutants. Do they have powers?
Yeah.
They're deviated from normal clones, right? Like one's really retarded, but he's way stronger, right? You know, one's got enhanced senses. One's a really good fucking sniper. One's really good with tech. You know what they call him? Tech.
Whoa.
Like I know.
All right, cool. Well, I'm excited.
And there's another one. There's a female clone called Omega. She's gonna be your favorite, MauLer.
Well, I'm gonna want to watch.
Theory's just gone. Theory lost his mind.
Theory's just fucking
whenever someone mentions female at this point, I can't. You know, I've learned to just not even be in the same freaking screen. So
I said she's gonna be MauLer's favorite.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good clip.
I assume you really like New Zealand accents.
me.
Oh, me?
MauLer.
Oh,
Why me?
MauLer? Why?
I don't know. It's close to whatever you fucking speak.
You know where New Zealand is, though, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Wasn't Australia was some kind of like penal colony or some shit? I'm sure New Zealand's the same type of thing.
Yeah, right next door, pretty much to good old Britain. You know, we hang out.
That's
Hold
like
on.
That's
The
worse than the
UK
Irish thing.
Yeah, the UK like spread their seed all over the world with imperialism, right? It's badass. It was awesome. But I mean, let's not pretend like that's not like just because like it's
You're like, why?
far away from you.
Why would I like them more than Theory? I'm sure Theory loves New Zealand.
I like New Zealand. Yeah,
Yeah, see,
He goes easy on everything, okay? He doesn't want to hate stuff like we do, MauLer, but you
Mhm.
specifically love New Zealand.
hey, we're chipping them away. Them, okay? That heart is not gonna last. Getting
No.
pieces every day.
they're
putting it
working
in
every day. Yeah,
The volcano.
see what happens.
Also,
And
I'm
then maybe
excited
it'll become
more
worse
for
than all.
Damsel. You heard about that cool new movie coming on out on Netflix? It's gonna be
Is that an AI generated thing?
What? No, it's real. That's the saddest part, is that it's real. It's a film about how there's a girl who has to marry a prince, and instead she is going to be fed to like a dragon, but she's going to fight the dragon, and she's going to defeat the kingdom, and she's going to be the queen. That looks like the story. Or befriends the dragon. I'm not sure, but the tagline is "This is no fairy tale," and it looks so good. I didn't believe it was real. No, I thought it was fake when I first saw it. I was like, that's pretty funny. But you know, what are you gonna do? What else has Netflix got coming out? The Atla live action. What about that? You guys excited?
I don't know what that is. I have not seen.
Is that the Last Airbender thing?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not like a fan or anything of the cartoons, so I'm going into that with like no idea, no bias or towards like what it's supposed to be. The first trailer looked kind of cool, but I don't really know shit about it.
I think the latest like TV spot or whatever pissed people off. We'll have to see. I think it's gonna make everyone get mad, one way or another.
So Ryan will lose his mind.
I think Ryan might lose his mind. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think so. I'm not invested in that, so
Did
it'd
you
be
watch
tough.
the Bad Batch?
Me?
Yeah.
I've watched pretty much all of it. I watched all of season 1. I skipped around a little season 2, and someone made me watch the season 2 finale.
Did you
Okay.
skip the tech episodes?
Well, season 2 finale's got a little bit of tech in it.
See, I'm going to be going in unbiased, like unlike you two. I'm going to go in and be able to assess it properly because I haven't got the bias of watching the first 2 seasons. which is how you're supposed to watch TV, by the way.
Oh wait, so you're gonna go in the third season and watch it? And
I assume I have to,
you
so
kinda
that I
have
know
to
what the
now.
fuck you guys are talking about. When
Yeah, well,
when
exactly.
you're like, oh, Jumbo and Tech, they went on that amazing adventure where they killed all the Gungans. I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta go see that shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, fuck Jumbo. He might still be on that planet, right, chat? What would you
Hopefully.
guys call him? Fat Mace Windu?
I would love to see Wrecker just commit genocide against the Gungans. I think that'd be an interesting storyline.
What the fuck? Why?
Wrecker's the one who's like strong but kind of retarded MauLer. So
Oh, I thought that was Tech.
no, Tech is good with tech, obviously.
Tech's brilliant.
I thought he was like the smart one. Oh wait, yeah, no, that makes
It's
sense.
essentially the Ninja Turtles, man. So
You can't have smart and strong, yeah.
Tech is Donatello. Wrecker is
Raphael.
Michelangelo. Because he's stupid. He's like, you know, he's
Did you say Crosshair's Raphael? Because he's like brutal.
Crosshair's Raphael, 100%, yeah. And then Hunter's Leonardo.
Who's Splinter?
Omega.
Fuck.
Who's Shredder?
Omega.
He's both?
What's a she? Son of a bitch.
That's your opinion.
Well, she's a clone who's female, and spoiler alert, she's the key to everything. Who would have thought? The one clone that's female.
Hopefully we got a live action for that character then.
I really hope that. I hope season 2 of Book of Boba Fett has him finding Omega and like adopting her as a daughter, except she's actually better at everything than he is. That's what I hope we get.
Do you really think we'll get a second season of Book of Boba Fett? Is that even possible?
I think so, yeah. Oh, they have to. They have to make it right, dude. They can't
Wait,
just
is
Make it
leave like
right?
that. They can't.
Is Omega? It's been a while to watch it. Is she also age at twice the speed? Is she like rapid aging, or is she
No. So I think they all slowed down.
Yeah, because I don't remember that or not. So in theory, like her and Boba Fett could be relatively close to the same age.
Yep.
My sister, Echo.
Yeah.
Not Echo, Omega.
Omega.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what threads at the end of season 2 of Bad Batch are you guys excited to see concluded?
Season 3.
Huh?
Season 3. Get
What?
it right. It's season 3.
No, what he's saying is what threads at the end of the last season are you looking forward to seeing closed up in this season?
Oh, I'd love to see if Tech is actually alive, because I think he is. I think they're preserving his body.
Yeah, why would they actually kill anyone for real in this fucking series? That'd be crazy.
Exactly. I think Crosshair is gonna die.
Oh no.
Sure.
I think one of the things that's pissed me off more than any other stuff is the fact that they brought in Mount Tantus and everything into this just pisses me off.
What? Why?
Because they're not doing it. Why would you bring in stuff
Because they're gonna fuck
from the
it up?
shit you threw away that you're not even doing it right? You're not even doing it the same fucking
Dude,
way.
Ryan's losing his mind.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind.
He is gonna lose. I'm pushing him, man. I'm gonna make him lose his mind. Okay, so how would you do it?
Well, how would I? One, I wouldn't bring in anything from fucking Legends once you threw it all away. Make your own shit. Don't try to bastardize stuff and make people like literally just because a couple of people heard. Oh my God, they said Mount Tantus. Oh my God, and it's a complete bastardization of everything.
That's literally me.
I know that's you. Like I don't understand that.
That's me, dude.
Why would you want that though?
Because we don't have anything else.
What if they brought in some random redheaded chick, right, who's a little bit sassy in season 4 of The Mandalorian, and she was like, "My name's Mara Jade." Would you lose your mind?
Yeah, it'd be fucking dope.
Well, why? Because in this universe where Luke Skywalker's not going to get married to her, while Luke Skywalker's already a fucking failure piece of shit and everything that we've seen happen, why would you be excited for them to bring in a character who was actually good in one iteration of canon just for a little fucking pop like of recognition before they destroy this person's character further? That's the stuff that doesn't make any sense to me.
Ryan, say you're in the desert, you got no food, no water.
I would die. I would rather die.
No, Papa comes along and says, "Hey, Ryan, zip, let me give you a little bit of liquid." You're going to be like, you're going to tell me that you're going to be like, "No, oh,
Why did you just compare watching Disney Star Wars to being peed on? In a
Because we're
positive
being-
light.
No, you're not. How do you not get that? We're being starved.
I would rather die with a little bit of dignity than let Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni piss down my fucking throat to keep me alive.
I think
That's what I would
John. I
rather
think
have.
John knows exactly what he's doing. I just think that fucking Kathleen or someone came in there and just destroyed everything. Because it was 3 was just so fucked from what 1 and 2 were. So I have a hard time believing that freaking Jon Favreau wrote that piece of shit that was the season 3.
Let me just pretend we're a week ago.
Okay.
And we were talking about Lizzo. And you were like, man, whoever can't believe they did that.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. One stupid cameo decision because he thinks it's going to pull in views and ratings from freaking Lizzo fans. That's totally separate from him writing the entire story of season 3. I mean, that one episode, yeah, it's shit. He made a dumb decision. There were probably people talking in his ear being like, we need to get the ratings for this show. We need to get influencers. And so they get fucking Lizzo. And then he's like, oh, yeah, what are you writing?
me?
Writing.
Are you typing something?
Yeah,
No.
I'm editing a video.
Oh. The fuck?
Wait, editing would type? You write out titles or something?
It
Yeah.
looked like he was typing.
Literally, I'm fucking typing in right here. I'm editing a video. I'm exporting it now. I'm about to upload it to YouTube. I got to
Oh,
work
see,
too.
yeah.
I can't just do the stream.
Oh,
Wow.
see, I was... all right.
I'm listening to
Damn.
you.
Fuck.
You want me to repeat what you just said?
No,
There's a
man,
difference
no,
between
whatever.
Okay, there's a difference
all
between what
good.
happened, getting a TikTok, an influencer, get Lizzo fans, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah, you get
Here's
the
my
point.
here's
I know.
my
I
thing.
know, you
But
get
here's
the
my
point.
thing. I don't think that Mandalorian season 3 is that drastic of a drop off from 2 when you just look at the quality of the writing and the story that they actually told, and when you get all of the cameo stuff out of your head.
How it was...
Hmm.
I
To
think it was
me,
quite different.
on the rewatch, and I've heard this from a lot of people on the rewatch of Mando season 2,
Yeah.
when you don't have the jangling keys of, oh my gosh, Boba Fett, oh my gosh,
When you know where
Bo-Katan,
it goes.
oh my gosh, Ahsoka, oh my gosh, Luke Skywalker. When you don't have that and you just are left with the shell of season 2, I don't think it's that impressive. And I think Mando season 3 is a step down, but I don't think it's as big a step down as most people make it out to be. The difference is your jangling keys are Jack Black and Lizzo instead of all those characters I just said.
No, I disagree because most of season 3 was a focus on Bo-Katan and the discombobulated story that just went back and forth nowhere, focusing on Bo's crew and then the armorer and then a tiny little bit of not even Mando and Grogu. And then in the end, it's like literally you get like, this is like the bullshit they're doing lately is they build up a whole bunch of crap for 6 episodes or whatever it is. And then the last 2 episodes kind of culminate what you wanted to see after I'd say episode 3. So they give you like 5-6 episodes of bullshit that you don't need, and then like, oh well, here's your season. What the fuck?
To me, the best episode of season 2 by far was the Bill Burr episode.
Yeah.
Right when they go into the Imperial facility, he's forced to take off his helmet. Like there's actually some shit there where you're like, okay, this is how far he's willing to go.
Right.
And I think there was some good stuff in there. And I think there was great stuff between Bill Burr humanizing, the Imperials.
Sure.
Unfortunately, you kind of throw all of that humanization out the window where he's like, let me do it. And he just blows them to fucking pieces like 45 seconds after he's humanized them. But still, I think that's probably the best episode of that season because you're not weighed down. Yeah, okay, we remember this guy from season 1. But it's actually about a story instead of, and there was a lot of dumb stuff in that episode. Don't get me wrong, with the fight that they had on the tank, the fact that they're transporting those things with things on wheels to begin with, very strange. But that to me was like the best overall episode. A lot of the other episodes, I think, especially in a rewatch, especially when you realize that Grogu was gone for 2 seconds of this person's life, it all means nothing.
No, it's bullshit. I know. I agree. And that's why I think that Disney really did come in and tell Favreau, yo, we need to do something to get Grogu back because we got to sell shit and we got to get ratings up and we're worried we're not going to get ratings. That's my theory.
So,
and he was probably like, well, okay, let's do the Boba show and just reintroduce Grogu somehow. So let's just Uber him to Tatooine.
With
I think that's the
the
whole reason.
explanations of like the studio being the reason that it's bad, what stops that from being what's going to happen, in future?
Because I hope that they'll see the outcry from fans and they'll be like, okay, maybe we need to not do this shit.
I mean, it could just as easily be doubled down on, right? They'll be like, oh, we need to control even
be.
more. Remember
Could
what
be.
Bob Iger said about the Marvels? He was like, oh, we need some more supervision. Got to get in there more. That's what will make that better.
Oh, see, I took that as like, we need to start. Well, remember when he said we need to start telling stories and not focusing on politics, which is pretty fucking hilarious considering he's
Yeah, but
literally in charge of all that bullshit.
Had all those same films have made, 1.5 billion each, he'd have been in that organization being like, yeah, we told great stories. It's like, it's just numbers. He has no idea what the difference between a good story and a bad story even is.
All of that stuff he said is just damage control.
Like, he would have told us, TFA, amazing. TLJ, yeah, pretty good. And then Rise of Skywalker is okay. But, it seems to be some form of a decline. Solo wasn't good, though. Like, it's strictly based on money. It has nothing to do with,
Of course.
the stories themselves.
That's why I call these guys the suits. They're just a bunch of pencil pushers that sit up there and fucking talk bullshit and look at statistics and numbers and what they think will do right, but they have no actual clue what does right, which is just the story. Which is why George was so successful when it was an independent company. And now it's just perverted and destroyed and milked, and they're just looking at freaking graphs and bullshit. So I agree with you. I don't disagree at all. I just think that there has to be some point where the graphs start to decline, and they're like, well, maybe we should shift our whole perspective of this. And maybe we should start hiring some competent people that actually understand Star Wars instead of just big name directors or writers. Point being, why the fuck did Joby Harold write the Kenobi show? Why did Deborah Chow direct it the way she did and cut out so much important stuff to do with the characters and lead them the way that she did?
Well,
why did we have
Deborah Chow got the job because people praised her on Mandalorian season 1. That's why she got that job.
Oh, whatever. She directed like a couple episodes, and that was with the supervision of Jon Favreau.
I'm just telling you, that's why she was.
Oh, I know.
That's why she got that job.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but it's. You can't, they're just like handing keys out to random people. It's like, well, you need to let Dave decide and discern who hands out, who does what project, and he has to oversee everything, which I'm glad that he's now, I feel like slowly it just takes fucking years. You're smirking. And I like Dave.
I'm just letting you finish.
Well, I got some as well.
His responsibilities are literally the same as they were a couple years ago. He's been doing it for a long time. He consulted on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
And not to mention,
I just think the more we press, the more they're going to freaking see that, hey, we got to change some stuff around because this is just not good.
The hiring of Deborah Chow for Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm pretty sure when that was known, people saw it as a good thing because she was responsible for season 1, episode 3 and season 1, episode 7 of Mandalorian season 1. Now, I take the super spicy position that Mandalorian season 1 is shit as well. We don't have to deal with that right now. But so I was like, well, Kenobi's fucked. And I'm amused, I guess, by the idea of like, how did she get that job? It's like, well, surely you would be like, hey, it would be cool to have a director of strong episodes from the other series get maybe a few more episodes or even a full season. There's only 6 episodes, right?
Yes.
Of what?
Being Kenobi.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm getting at is just this incestuous sort of series of people that are dealing with Star Wars right now is just like, yeah. I mean, what about if the 3 of us gave a percentage chance of the next thing from them? What do you think it is for being good? Let's remove Andor from the equation.
What's the Acolyte is next?
The Acolyte's next. Well, Bad Batch is technically next.
Yeah,
let's go with I don't know, because we all know that. Like, I'm trying to find something fair. Help me out here. Like, what's a fair, neutral?
We have Acolyte,
Mandalorian and Grogu.
Let's call it. Let's say Mandalorian and Grogu. Percentage chance on how it being good. Ryan, theory. Do you want to go? What would your guess be?
I think Mandalorian movie will be good.
But like, would you be rolling like a
75% chance?
75. All right, Ryan.
I would say a 10 to 15% chance of being good.
I was going to go with 5.
I was going to say I'm probably more generous than you.
I think I think it's a guarantee there'll be at least one scene that I'll be like, that was pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That was good. So
my issue with that and really with Mando season 4 is like, man, what story are we gonna tell? Now if you're talking to Mandalorian season 4, I can see a way where you're trying to continue to build up to the conflict with Thrawn. With a movie called Mandalorian and Grogu, I don't really know what you're going to be doing in that, because to me it's easier and more tolerable for us as the audience to sit through a season 4 of something that you realize is like building up to something, rather than go to a theater and watch a standalone movie that's entire purpose is to build up to something that you're not going to see for another, several years, if that's its sole purpose. The title Mandalorian Grogu, I feel like it has to be something between Mandalorian and Grogu and their relationship developing, but I don't know where it goes from here. It feels like sitting there with your feet up on your nice little place that you got. Feels like he's ready to retire. I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna do a time jump. We're gonna make Grogu be able to speak to Mando directly. Probably not.
You can't. You're stuck in this Thrawn time frame.
I mean, but they could do anything, and that's kind of the interesting part about it. Is they could go into the sequels, which I hope they don't, or they can create their own timeline within 6 and 7, which I think is what they're gonna do. With everything going on with Ahsoka and all that stuff. So it's like, let's just focus on Luke and some overarching threat in the galaxy. Which, do we know if Ahsoka season 2 is coming out before Mando movie or not? It probably is.
There's no real timeline. They haven't given us timeline on Mando season 4. Whatever happens with that, Ahsoka season 2 or Mandalorian Grogu. But like talking about Mandalorian Grogu, you think that's going to be about Luke? Mandalorian Grogu and Luke too?
No, I don't think it'd be about Luke, but I think what they're doing is they're creating the Avengers.
That's 100%. 100%.
Right. So, Thrawn he's the other blue guy. He's purple guy, whatever. He's Thanos. But what I want to see is someone who is perhaps even more powerful or villainous than Thanos. Than Thrawn. Because so far Thrawn kind of looks like an idiot.
Or like competent.
But like what?
Yeah.
If our concern is, we need to get someone who's better than Thrawn, it's like, who wrote for Thrawn again? Well, all right, Filoni. Right. So who's writing for this new villain? Filoni.
Well, no, so I don't think Filoni's the best at writing Thrawn, but he's good at writing Force users. So what we need, just like in Heir to the Empire, we had the intellect, which was Thrawn, which is hopefully they'll turn him intellectual. And then we had a mage, like a wizard, a sorcerer of some sorts. I think that's the dynamic we need. Someone with the brains, and then someone with the magical powers.
Speaking of Filoni writing for Force users, how are you feeling about the, Sabine or Hera, sorry, at the getting that? You know what I mean? These are Force users now, and
I don't feel good about it.
No, and that's his latest work in relation to Force users.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it.
Particularly entranced with Ahsoka, and I just had, what was that, 8 episodes? 7, 6? I can't remember anymore.
Do you think
it was 8?
I should be by now, especially because I like Rosario Dawson a lot too. Like I don't know why I don't care about Ahsoka after all of that. It's like I really should.
Do you think for Ahsoka, because I know like you talked about a lot of like you feel like Favreau's kind of been interfered with when it comes to Mando. How do you feel about Ahsoka? Because to me, Ahsoka felt like exactly what Dave Filoni's literally always wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think, Dave is really good when it comes to animation and stuff, and I think he kind of needs to understand the separation between, like, what you can get away with animation and what you can't with live action. And so I think, as much as I freaking loved seeing Hayden again, that whole sequence was a little bit confusing because it's like, well, is this a dream? Is she actually in the world between worlds? First of all, I don't like the world between worlds. I never did. I think it's just totally just cheapens the entire story. Pulling people out of portals and changing time, and then he says it's not a way to go back in time. Like, what are you talking about? You literally changed an event from transpiring. How is it not time travel? It is. It's also a place where you can not only time travel one event, you can time travel any event because you're hearing echoes of every freaking thing that happened in Star Wars. So it's like, how are you going to go ahead and create that and not expect it to get messy? So, you can do that in animation. In live action, I think it's a little more difficult to kind of make that realistic, even though it's Star Wars. But hey, it's cool to see the visions and stuff like that. So as a fan, I'm happy, but also when I try to make it a little bit more realistic within the world of Star Wars, I'm like, how is he gonna pull this off? So yeah, we'll see.
There's a seriousness that comes with live action that I feel like isn't necessarily. I feel like with a lot of animated stuff, specifically in Star Wars, I feel like we don't approach it with the same seriousness sometimes. Maybe it's because we feel like it's geared towards a different audience or whatever. So if you when you do bring that approach, and I obviously am not a big fan of a lot of the animated stuff Filoni's done either. But when you take that approach and bring it to live action, you've seen a lot of people be pretty critical of it.
I didn't know you weren't a fan of the animated stuff.
Yeah, I kind of keep it pretty low key. I don't really want to talk about that very much, but yeah,
I'm familiar with that strategy. Like some people be like, oh, "How could you?"
Oh,
that's the thing. Every time I mention Mandalorian season 1, people are surprised. I'm like, hopefully it's forgotten now.
What about Tales?
We've talked about that before, right?
Did you like it though?
So there are elements of it I like. All the Ahsoka stuff. I'm so tired of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Kick her out of here. The Dooku Qui-Gon stuff was interesting to me.
Yeah.
There was some interesting timeline stuff they did with when exactly Dooku erased Kamino and how, of course, Yaddle's the one that found out, which they changed a lot of shit to make that happen. Yaddle died before, well before that, in an actual battle, not against Count Dooku, because Bryce Dallas Howard as Yaddle figured out who it was. It's not how it fucking happened.
Yeah. And she saved Anakin when she did that with the bomb.
Yeah, 100%. And they erased all of that so they could show us that story. The Dooku stuff is cool, but I can throw away all of the Ahsoka stuff. Don't want it. I'm so tired of her. It was like all right, the Dooku stuff. I just don't like it when they changed when they change when you make decisions to change when things happen that were established because, well, we just thought this would make a good story to tell in this 20-minute time frame, so we're going to change this and throw it out the window.
10-minute time frame.
I have a curiosity for theory, right? You weren't so fond of Star Wars Rebels, at least not compared to Clone Wars, right?
No, correct.
So, because maybe Ryan knows the answers to these questions a little bit more, but it seems to me from everything that I've read that Rebels is more Filoni's work than Clone Wars is.
I would say so. Yeah.
Is that not a bit worrying that we see him as his strength is in animation and that Rebels is considered pretty crap by a lot of people?
No, because it's focused on entirely new characters that have no structure to build upon. So he just has free flow. He can go wherever he wants with it. Whereas
Rebels,
with Anakin or Ahsoka or Vader or whatever, there's structure. There's bones that you kind of have to build the muscles around. You can't just create your own freaking structure there.
So he can't create new characters.
He can create new characters, but I feel like when he is playing with, Ahsoka or Anakin or Vader or characters that have already been pre-established with George, he's more confined, which I think ends up with better characters.
But not so much with Thrawn.
No, I mean, you raise a good point, but I don't think he understands Thrawn as well as he does perhaps Anakin or Ahsoka or Vader or Maul.
Which I find pretty curious as well, because you just said that even episode 5 was a bit confusing on the part of what is Anakin supposed to be, and comments from Filoni haven't made it clearer, nor is his comments on the Will Between Worlds made anything clearer.
Yeah, well, maybe it's supposed to be some sort of a speculation until it's dived into deeper in Ahsoka Season 2, where we actually get some answers on the World Between Worlds, because he's been quite vague ever since he created it. He hasn't really explained properly. Yeah, intentionally vague, so I'm guessing, okay, there must be some sort of a story here. Perhaps it has something to do with the Mortis people. I don't know.
I think he's fucking just making it up as he goes.
Or he just doesn't know, you think?
Or J.J. Abrams' mystery box bullshit. Doesn't actually want to explain anything.
I hate that, dude.
It's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get, and I think you can do storytelling like that. I don't think that every single thing needs to be laid out. And I think you can tell compelling stories when you do have some people, discussing what did that mean? Was it really this? Was it really that? However, I feel like there does come a time where you do need to have some sort of definition onto what happened so that people could put in context of the rest of time. Are we going to have another World Between Worlds episode in Ahsoka season 2? Are we going to go back there?
Is anything going to happen in Ahsoka season 2? Maybe.
I still want to know. Anakin appearing as a Force ghost to Ahsoka, or Anakin, whatever he may have done, if he is the one, if he was the impetus behind Pointer of the World Between Worlds, whatever happened. Hey, why don't you drop a line to your son, you fucking dirtbag? Why don't you appear to him as a Force ghost and tell him about Exegol? You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally.
And so, the more you utilize that to try to make sure everyone understands how special Ahsoka is because of her connection with Anakin, the more hard it is to believe that Anakin never was able to reach out at all to his son and tell him any of these things he should have. So I really think you got to be careful when you use Anakin.
They totally backed him into a corner there because it's like, well, now what do you got? Especially with that dumb ass comic where they freaking have Vader go to... I mean, who wrote off... Like, I seriously want to sit down with whoever freaking did that comic issue and be like, what were you thinking when you approved this shit? Vader goes to Exegol and Palpatine tells him about his entire plans and he sees the entire fleet and each ship is a freaking Death Star and he just never tells Luke.
Was that comic before or after Rise of Skywalker?
After, I think.
After.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker already made it canon.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker is when Kylo had to kill all those random people to get the triangle.
Yeah, just because I think we mentioned this before. Kylo gets the Wayfinder from Mustafar, specifically Darth Vader's HQ or whatever. So Vader knew about the waypoint that takes you to the to Exegol, so he knew about it.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm saying is the comic is kind of just them, as Ryan just said. That all the books, I feel bad whenever I read about this stuff, where they're just like, "How do I explain this?" And it's like they had to explain how Poe, why he disappeared and then came back in TFA, because it's not like JJ had any explanations for it.
In the Last Jedi novelization, they literally had to explain. What was it? I think it was Last Jedi novelization or Force Awakens. They had to explain how Rey got so powerful. Yeah. They had to make up the Force downloading shit.
Remember
that?
Literally like the Matrix.
Yeah, when he got into her head, she got all of his head in her.
Oh my god!
Which, by the way, is probably not canon anymore. I'm not even sure that. If you ask Daisy Ridley when she's sorting her next film out, she probably have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, that was I totally forgot about that, bro. Thank you for bringing that up. That is the most ridiculous shit I've ever had to read.
Well, yeah, because everyone was like, so just download into all the people you want to be really strong then. Yeah. God, the Jedi were idiots for training people over several decades. You could just download
and also now anyone can use the Force with enough practice. So you can anyone can use the Force and you can immediately Force download all your knowledge into them and just have an army ready to go.
Well, that was always a thing that George said, but it's like, yeah, dude, I mean, I think there should be a freaking limit. Sabine should not be able to do what she can do.
There is. I need to dig up that quote too. Where George.
Yeah, I want to see it. What'd you say again? Something about potential or what?
Yeah. So there's obviously when he introduced midichlorians in the prequels, not just in the ideas in his head or written down his notes, but actually in the thing that kind of changed a lot of people's perception of the Force. Yeah. And there's a line it's in this book. I know you have this too. The archives. I need to find exactly the page. Yeah, this is the prequel one.
Yeah.
I need to find exactly the page so I can find the quote itself. But there's something.
Dude, let me just freaking tweet the author right now, man. I've interviewed him. He'll answer.
Well, yeah, it's George's quote. I made a video about it.
What exactly did it say?
Let me pull it up, actually, because I made a video about it. I took a screenshot. Maybe I can find the page number. But it's basically talking about how he specifically says if you have a certain amount of midichlorians, you can access your personal Force. That's what he's talking about. Go to this channel. Not this channel. RK Outpost Live. And MauLer can fill time while we're doing
Sure, I can talk about how I'm curious on these statements about did George intend it or not. I'm curious, is there anything George could have intended or wanted that you would have disagreed with, Theory?
Sorry. Ryan, can you repeat that? It's where George says if one uses...
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh, you have it, so I shouldn't message this guy?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm pulling up my video on where I have a screenshot.
Apologies, MauLer. What'd you say?
Is there anything that George said about what is canon in Star Wars or what the intentions of Star Wars are that you felt yourself saying like, nah, that's not true?
Yeah, there have been, but I don't remember exactly what they were.
Well, I'll give you a famous one, right? Who shot first?
Oh, who cares?
No, I care. I care about that. It's indicative of something, right? Like, to give us a movie and then to change a moment like that is to basically like tell us, once we've had our story has been delivered, that it's like, wait. I just wanted that didn't happen. It's like, well, no, it did.
Oh,
It's too
dude,
late.
let me give you. So I had an interview. I believe it was with. I think that was an interview with Paul Hirsch, and I can bring it up in a second here. So, actually, I'll bring it up in a second. George full on like, I think the Museum of Film or something wanted the original cut of A New Hope, and George sent them the the remastered, like recut, like from 1990 something. And they're like, no, we want the original one. This is for the archives. He's like, no,
No, I'm good. I'm hanging on to that.
I'm good. I'm gonna send you guys the one that's how it's supposed to be. So George is always updating his stories based on what he thinks it should be at that time.
Oh, sure, and he has
100%.
he can do that, but we can also be like, nah, back to him, as in like that ain't Star Wars. It's this one.
We can be critical of it, and there is to me, there's always like, even if I disagree with it or if I disagree with those changes or whatever, there is some like point of resignation from like, well, he is the creator, right? Whereas if it's someone else fucking with it, I have a bigger problem with it. Even though I can still like criticize if I think that was silly to do this or that. This is what I'm talking about. Paul Duncan is asking him specifically about midichlorians. Introduce him in episode 1 as indicators of the Force. George talks, this is cosmology. The Force is energy, the fuel. Without everything fall apart. Force a metaphor for God. God is essentially unknowable. Behind another metaphor, which fits so well that I couldn't resist it. And he talks about midichlorians and mitochondria, blah, blah, blah. This is where it gets interesting. That's why I split into the personal force and the cosmic force. The personal force is the energy field created when your cells interacting, doing things while we're alive. When we die, we lose our persona and our energies that simulate to the cosmic force. If we have enough midichlorians in our body, we can have a certain amount of control over our personal force and learn to use it, like the Buddhist practice of being able to walk on hot coals. Some people can't because they just don't have as many midichlorians. That's just genetics.
Right.
That right there is a pretty definitive statement. This is talking about, and the aftermath, obviously, talking about how it was shown in the prequels that not everyone can use the Force.
Yeah.
It's just genetics.
Right.
That's pretty definitive.
I remember reading that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, we've said before, the world reflects the fact that not everyone can use it because we see very few people using it, like in the OT, for example.
Yeah. And, well, okay, so, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So what makes you think that Sabine doesn't have that level of potential?
I personally think that considering the amount of time that she was around Jedi, including the training she got from Jedi and all of these things and all this other time spent with Ahsoka that we have, it's a mystery as to how much that actually was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit wild for her to
only get it now.
For them to have not discovered that or like to finally have this breakthrough now. I think it's a little crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree
the reason I say that, but the reason I say that is that argument almost doesn't matter because it's very clear the way that Dave and the actress who plays Sabine have talked about it. They make it very clear that they're going for anyone can use the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, George did say that in an interview in 1979 or 1980 when he was like before Empire Strikes Back came out. He did say that it was effectively just like a skill that you could learn, right? Some people are inherently better at it, but it's a skill that anyone could learn. He changed all of that when he really delved into midichlorians and explaining the Force.
Right.
So,
yeah, no disagreement there whatsoever.
Well then,
yeah.
on the Han shot first thing, I think it's a really great character moment. It gives you everything you need to know about him so quickly, and then to go back and be like, oh, I don't want him to be shooting people before they shoot at him, though. Feels so insecure about Han as a character. It's like he's so familiar with this underground almost of this world, as well as what Greedo's doing and what's going on with Jabba, that he knows he's going to try and kill him, so he kills him first, right? Like that shit's cool. and kind of cunning too. And so having an author be like, "Ooh, I don't know, that seems a little bit mean," I'd be like, "Just leave it alone. Stop touching it. Like, just leave it."
And it also, to me, like, Han's not some great dude, right? He's a dude that's in debt. He's on the run. Like, there's people coming after him. Like, he's made a lot of bad decisions in his life.
Yeah.
And it's okay to show that he's got some rough edges around him, right?
Right.
Like, and it makes the journey he goes on and the decision he makes to come back, the decision he makes to stay as long as he does in Empire, and all that character development we get all the way up through seeing him partying with the Ewoks on Endor at the end of Return of the Jedi. It makes all that more powerful to see where this guy came from to where he is now. And that's what makes it so depressing and disappointing when they made the decision to revert him back to his like 1.0, Han Solo 1.0 in Force Awakens.
Well, you assume at the end of New Hope when he's trying to convince Luke to run away, basically, it's like, that's the correct decision, right? And then he sees all these people doing something heroic and he's like, maybe we should do something, and then does it. And then from that on, he's very different. Like, Empire is already different than in A New Hope.
It's like Aunt May says, there's a hero in all of us.
Exactly.
I like me and MauLer just watched Madam Web because we hate ourselves.
Yeah, what's that about? Is this a Marvel film?
It's about a madam who webs.
It's a prequel to Spider-Man, okay? That's what it is. It sets up Spider-Man.
It's actually a prequel to a Spider-Man spinoff.
It's not even any of the 3 different Spider-Man continuities. It can't actually apply to any of them continuity-wise. It's so funny. Like, I don't know if they did that.
What is it? Is it Spider-Girl?
So it's Madam Web and 3 different variations of Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, and I forget what the Latina one's name is, or what her superhero name is. It's like Arachnid or something. I don't remember. But it's set in 2003, and it's about somebody whose mom in the 1970s, I think, was in the Amazon looking for a cure for some genetic disease that her daughter had, that some spider was the key to getting. And she eventually develops these like psychic powers where she can see parts of the future, and she doesn't know what's going on, but she knows that these girls are all being hunted by this bad dude who happened to be the same bad dude who got the spider that her mother was actually after and murdered her mother. And essentially the entire thing is setting up the fact that at some point in time, these 3 other spider girls are going to get powers, and they were going to kill the bad guy. So he wanted to kill them before that happened. They don't actually have powers in this movie. You just have a couple visions of them having powers.
They don't even get power origins in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's boring.
But it's all the thing that's crazy is it's all dancing around. It's all dancing around Spider-Man. That's the thing. This is a Sony Spider-Man universe that doesn't have fucking Spider-Man. Peter Parker's literally in this movie as a baby, and they never say his name.
Oh, holy shit! It's there. I was gonna say, the way you're explaining it seemed interesting if they all ended up getting powers, but what the fuck?
Well, they're out of continuity with all 3 of the Spider-Men that they could use, so they'd have to make another one, I guess. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Apparently, it wasn't the original plan to make it line up with Andrew Garfield's, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we've got the wrong timeline."
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh shit, let's go Tom Holland," because I think originally it was supposed to be set in the 90s, then they shifted up to the 2003, and they had to like remove a bunch of references. When I saw that Blockbuster video and like one of the opening sequences, I was like, okay, like Blockbuster's around 2003, but it was kind of like starting to be on its way out. That feels like a 90s reference, but
somewhat, yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Is it on streaming?
No, it's in a theater. It'll be coming to streaming soon. I can guarantee that. It won't be in theaters long. But the reason I brought that up after you said the Aunt May thing was, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Kind of that simple quote is really like so defining to a character and a superhero like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, they changed it a little bit in this movie. They change it to, once you accept responsibility, you will gain great power, which has a whole different meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And is a little more evil
pretty,
in a way.
I was gonna say.
But that's what she has to do at the end. She has to accept responsibility for these 3 girls, and when she does that, she gains great powers to be in multiple places at once somehow, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Sounds interesting. Great.
Ghost clones.
Okay. So, anyways, you gonna be watching Bad Batch tomorrow night? Or you're gonna watch it later this week?
I mean,
I'll
keep up to date with it just for you guys because I love you guys so much.
Well, you got 3 to watch this week because they're premiering 3 tomorrow night.
How long are they?
Like 20 minutes.
Like 20 minutes.
I can do that. I've suffered through much worse.
All right. Poor MauLer.
I think Mahler's gonna love it so much he's gonna binge seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, man, I gotta know
Just
the
imagine-
backstory
yeah,
attack.
yeah. Imagine he watches it and he's just like, I actually love this show. It is amazing.
He's like, I got to know how Wrecker became this dumb.
How many?
Hey, but that's
times
the funny.
it's in
That's the
my
cool part is that all their powers go like all his powers went to his muscles versus his brain.
That is the cool part.
Yeah, it's cute. No? All right. This may be mean-spirited, but Suicide Squad going below 1,000 players sounds like a victory.
It is.
They
We're
went
just gonna
below
knock
1,000,
off that one, and then we'll be good.
It sucks. What's up, Darth Traitorous? What's up, Matic? Did you know that there is a 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace? Jake Lloyd talked about it and said it's bizarrely good. Would you like to see it?
Hell yeah.
Yes. Yes. In a heartbeat. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, MauLer, could you give us a non-review of Madam Web blaming the audience and movie producers for its failure in Chris Stuckman's voice?
I just think that the audience they've not treated this film well, and that's not fair. The directors and the writers, they've worked so hard, and I think that we'll come to learn someday that when you try to make a film, you'll realize just how hard it is, and that Madam Web truly is a triumph. So apologize for your negative reviews, and maybe one day we can have peace.
I don't know who Chris Stuckman is. Is he the writer?
Buy my book.
He's a guy who has gone just somewhat viral for saying basically we shouldn't really be bashing films anymore. And the way that he phrases it is, I'm not going to review Madam Web because I'm not going to bash the film, which implies any review of it that's negative is bashing it, which I think a lot of people have taken a lot of issue with.
Pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I bashed it.
Get Stuckmanized.
But I bashed it because it was bad.
I bashed it because it's bad, and I'll bash it again. Fuck
I'll
you.
go see it.
It's a shitty film.
I think it's time to give Movie Bros a revival.
Why not?
What's up, Zach? Ryan is unintentionally the most outlandish and out-of-pocket show host. LeMayo. Ryan, I love you. Theory and MauLer, y'all got to watch Arcade's Energy. Match Arcade's
Gonna
Energy.
match it. No,
No,
the whole
we-
point is we don't match it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny part.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Like people just turn this on and these guys are even keel and I'm fucking losing my mind over some fucking cartoon.
So I'll tell all 3,500 of you here right now, if you can all hit like. So we're going to be making a plushie of the 3 of us. So you can now take us home with you. So
That's
stay
cute.
tuned for that.
It's gonna be one plushie with 3 of us.
Molded
It
into one.
actually might be one plushie with 3 heads, or it just might be each of us put together.
Mm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at
Ryan
that.
has to have some sort of like outlandish expression, like
Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm known for those.
MauLer loves New Zealand.
Lord of the Rings did film there. That is a reason
True.
to love them. It's true.
What's up, Theory? Big fan. If Stannis is not Azor Ahai, do you think it could be possible that it's Dany? And I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's talking about Azor Ahai, Song of Ice and Fire. It's definitely not Stannis.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what that. What?
God, Ryan,
Lord
I
of the
would have
Rings?
loved it if all the Azor Ahai potentials were able to like meet someone other than the ones that had died, like when you get to the late game. But just the idea that all of them think it'll be them or something.
Yeah. Well, or like it gets introduced, like because some of the people that we think it is have no idea about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like have no concept of them being it, or the idea of one of them being Lightbringer and not Azor Ahai or whatever.
hmm
Game of
Also-
Thrones shit theory.
All right, cool.
Stannis'
Yeah,
death
yeah.
was
Figured.
horrible in the
Game
show.
of Thrones
but,
or House of Dragon?
Game of Thrones.
But yeah, it's tough with only one season of Game of
Should know
Thrones.
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't even talk
Or
about Game of
House of
Thrones
Dragon.
anymore. Just switch it over to A Song of Ice and Fire forever now. Because it's any theorizing, it's not going to be about Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones is dead. It's maybe about House of the Dragon though. You know, until it gets its completion. Was that going to be 3 seasons or more?
I think 4.
4 now, is it?
I don't think I don't think they need 4. I think they should have probably done 3. But considering season 2 is only 8 episodes, if the rest are 8 episodes, I can kind of buy them doing 4 seasons.
The thing is, if season 2 is as good as season 1, then it's going to get hype, and then they're going to be like, we should probably get this to last longer than 3 seasons if we can.
Like it should like
That's how it goes, though, isn't it?
They can't do it though. This is a closed end.
Well,
that's the nice thing about this story is that it's actually finished.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's a definitive end to it.
But I suppose the irony is that Game of Thrones desperately needed more seasons and more time, but the other creators were like, we want to go. This is boring. Like, we're done.
We want to go make a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Literally what they tried to do. Didn't work out very well.
Ryan, why is everyone shitting on Beardo? Are you guys getting him on Sports Wars or something?
So
is that a joke or are they actually like...
I mean, I make the majority of the videos over on Sports Wars. So like, it'd be like if I came and made a video on your channel, people or appeared on your channel on a stream. There's going to be some people that might not like it too much. Make Sports Wars great again. Stop trying to make boring Beardo happen. He's not going to happen. Anywho's been my new favorite stream. Thank you, Bakoko. Hey, Beardo's
thanks, bro.
He's grinding over there, so I appreciate the help. But I hear you. I'm making videos too.
Thank you for showing your love to my MauLer tattoo. Oh, of course, man. Looks great. Take off your One thing I'm interested in to see is if all Delta Squad members will be called in to take down the Bad Batch, or if all Bad Batch members die in the finale. I don't think they die, man. If you haven't noticed the theme, they don't really kill anybody.
Yeah, but it's the last season, right? So it's time to kill people. Silence.
That's an inch. You didn't want to read that?
Sorry, I something to do with the sabers. I was sorry.
My prediction for Bad Batch: Tech is alive. Hunter will die at the end. Crosshair will get the chip out and take over the Bad Batch at the end. Omega has the Force. Omega obviously is Force sensitive, like
100%.
Like 100%. Sorry, MauLer. Spoiler.
Wow. I was just getting into it.
The one female clone also happens to have the Force. I love it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you saying. Okay. So that's the full team, huh? Tech, Hunter, Crosshair,
Rekka,
and Omega,
and Rekka.
Was there characters
and
of this some that have died before, or nobody died in this whole show?
We thought Echo was dead for a long time. He got saved in a episode that we saw a couple years ago, basically. He got saved, became part of the Bad Batch. Tech, it looked to me, I thought Tech died at the end of season 2. They should have let him die. It was, even for somebody that doesn't like the show, I had someone show me watch the last couple episodes to kind of see what it was like, and it's like, yeah, even for somebody who doesn't like the show, that was a good ending. It's okay to have people die, especially if it's like emotionally impactful, and you should leave it that way. But no, he'll probably be fine. Just a flesh wound.
Sorry, boys. What's up, Corey? What's up, Liu? Filthy Casual. How Ryan feels about Star Wars is how I feel about the Halo show right now. I'm also losing my mind. How do you say optimistic theory? It's amazing. I don't... Honestly, dude, I sometimes feel like the way Ryan talks to me, sometimes I feel like I'm Wrecker. Like, I'm just like... I don't know. Just kind of seeing the best in... Well, okay, look, man. To be real, the way I look at it, without tooting my own horn, it's just kind of like how I would want them, or how I would think any logical person would write the stories going forwards. So, forgive me for sometimes feeling optimistic. I just think well, there's no other option than them to write this, which would be badass, which is my own theory or my own thoughts. But then they'd go and do something stupid, and it just doesn't end up the same way that I thought it would. So, I
don't think that's unreasonable. It's because I guess what my point of view would be is just how many times do you think they'd have to release something shitty before you'd sort of be like, Because like Marvel, like it took a while for them to annihilate the MCU in terms of every character and every plotline they had, but they did it over the course of Phase 4 and 5. I don't know if you've noticed, but like online discourse for that franchise has just plummeted. Like it used to be that anything could come out and people would just go crazy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The first one we noticed it with on EFAB anyway was Moon Knight, where like usually a thing comes out and then a month later or so people are like, that wasn't very good, but Moon Knight like died on its finale. I don't know if Ryan watched it or not, but
that is the only MCU show that I didn't make it all the way through.
They had a kaiju fight at the end and it was embarrassing. It was like giant gods fighting each other while everyone's having an awkward battle and stuff, and CG wasn't very good, and just everyone was just like, what the fuck is this crap? It reminds me of Secret Invasion, where people thought it was going to be like a thriller, like espionage and stuff, and then at the end there was a giant fight between big CGI monsters with lasers and stuff. It's just like, oof. WandaVision did the same thing. At the end there's a big fight with lasers.
Yeah, right.
And so like it seemed that people could only take so much, and like now you had Love and Thunder was hated pretty much soon after it came out.
Oh,
and then you fast forward to the Marvels, and I think that like nobody's really took the time to say like, oh, this one was good. It's like, nah, come on. we all know it's fine. Like, what's the future look like? And it's like most of the people don't even know. That's the news. We don't even know what the fuck's going on anymore, and they're bleeding all over the place. And so what I guess I'm saying is like Star Wars just feels like it's inevitably going to be in the exact same position. The only reason it hasn't so far is they haven't been releasing movies.
I think it's just my creative side that comes out, and I'm like, well, this would be dope. I mean, I've been doing fan fictions and stuff well before I even had the channel. So for me, whenever I see an issue or, like a shitty story that they write, I'm like, well, there's only one option to fix this. But somehow they keep having incompetent people do things that just don't feel right. So it's, I would literally have to think the opposite, like what would be shit? And then I'd be like, oh, that's what they're going to do. Then I would completely change my tune. But I'm always hopeful that, not even hopeful. I'm just like, oh, well, this is the only answer for them to do this. So never did I think that they're going to freaking do, the zombies would be the night with the fucking witches.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
Dude, I thought that was going to be like a little thing. Like that's like, okay, of course they're all zombies already.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, I never thought that was like the main freaking thing. I thought they were going to resurrect like freaking Darth Maul or create some being to be like imbued with the dark magic to be like Savage Opress and come in and just fuck Ahsoka up.
I hate that name, by the way.
Savage.
Just wait till you meet the character in season 4 of Clone Wars when you start to watch it.
What the fuck is wrong with Savage?
You are joking, right?
Savage Oppress. What do you mean? Savage Oppress.
He's dope. You don't like? You haven't even seen Clone Wars.
He says he doesn't like the name. He said he didn't like. He didn't say he didn't like the character. He says he didn't like the name.
All right. Well, whatever.
I mean, I'm not a big like, hey, let's snap our fingers and fucking make a super powerful force being.
Well,
like
I was about to say,
but
how would you feel, Ryan, if the magical ladies resurrected a ghost Darth Maul evil, but it was gonna be like, what would you have said? How would you have felt?
Would have been better than freaking what we got.
I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind, 100%.
Yeah.
I would have
the way I look at
the
it,
fuck out. I would have been really upset.
is like if they take the most force sensitive Zabrak, Dathomirian, whatever that they got there, and then they just imbue him with dark magic, with Night Sister magic, and then they have him trained by Count Dooku.
This is interesting because it does feel like this is the difference between how we're sort of watching the shows. When I saw them casting their big old spell, and if you paused me in that moment and said, what could they do here that would make you go, fuck, that is awesome? I would have said to you, like, I don't know. I don't know what they could summon that would make me think, wow, what a great writing decision. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the different things that's possible. And like, if I saw Darth Maul, I probably would have been angrier than I was at the zombies. I'd have been like, whatever, zombies are dumb, they're stupid. But Darth Maul would be like, for fuck's sake, another big old key jangling.
The thing that's weird about the zombies is like, we're being pressed, we're being told that, oh, he's really low on troops and blah, 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 and can't sacrifice these. Got these bitches who can just like resurrect people at will. Like, and it's not like they're working with him. like it's not like you'd have to do a ton to convince them to do it. So that was the thing that didn't make any sense to me, how that was like the big reveal when it's like you could have just been doing this the entire time.
Yeah, literally. That's like the big fuck. I need to call for a favor. It's like, what, you just resurrected a bunch of zombies? Were you kidding me?
It would have been cooler to me, the idea that all of his troops are already zombified. They're already imbued with Night Sister magic. That's how they're being kept alive. Like, you know what I mean? Like that.
They freaking out. That's what I thought was going
That's
down.
what I thought it was too. And that's why I thought they had the rags on him and all the stuff.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't know. I think that you could have done things so much different. I was convinced for a while when I first heard about, you know, the idea of doing the Ahsoka series and Thrawn and everything. I thought they were really, obviously they're trying to rip off Heir to the Empire. I thought they were really going to go for it and have Thrawn, and he is kind of doing that with the Night Sisters, but have Thrawn try to utilize the Force in some way. And I thought it would have at least been an interesting concept for him and Ezra to be trapped in this galaxy together, so be forced to work together and almost come to like this agreement and like understanding. Maybe Thrawn could have swayed Ezra, who'd already showed dark tendencies before. That maybe Ezra and Thrawn could legitimately be working together, and Ezra could be the Sabaoth to Thrawn, just like we saw in Heir to the Empire. I thought that would have been interesting instead of him literally just fucking off a couple kilometers away and Thrawn never deciding to kill the one dude who thwarted him and who's going to thwart him again. That's just me.
I think, you know, making a perhaps like a Savage Press kind of being out of like a, I don't know, they bring out like some Zabrak scrawny dude and turn him into Captain America, you know, whatever. Why not? It would have been cooler than what we got. What else are they going to do?
That sucks though, doesn't it? What else we got?
Of course it sucks. Of course it sucks, but there's no way. Look, here's what I would have done. I've been like, okay, you know what? Night Sisters, I need you to give me the location of, and then they cut to the next scene or whatever. And then who's the person that he wants the location of, and he goes and gets her, or has a freaking squad go get her? Barriss Offee.
The way that I look at this stuff is like, what can we do as a payoff? Maybe it involves Morgan Elsbeth, right? She's going to be dying at the end of this season. And like, okay, well, we need to kind of fucking roll it back because Morgan Elsbeth doesn't have character. She doesn't have investment. We need to write it now. So we set a bunch of groundwork to make her hate Ahsoka particularly. Yeah. Give him some kind of personal back and forth. Maybe that's actually additionally why she stays behind. She's like, I'm going to fucking kill her, that sort of thing. Give us anything. I would appreciate literally that, like, Ahsoka, through battling her in season 2, killed her father or something like that. He was just one of the, you know, the shotgunner guy? Like, that just turns out to be someone Ahsoka killed casually, and that was her dad. He was the security fucking leader. Literally that. 1 out of 10 something character so that she can be like, classic Star Wars, you killed my fucking father. I'm going to beat you up, silly tentacle head lady. And she's going to be like, wow, that's racist. when they fight. It'd be great. But no, this is what I mean by, like, I didn't know what could possibly happen from a perspective of me going like, oh, wow, that's a really well-written payoff because there's no setup for anything. Yeah. We're just sort of watching stuff happen. Like when Sabine tosses Ezra onto the ship, I think just everyone was like, she could do that. Okay, she could do that.
Oh, they fly now.
Yeah. And what I guess I'm getting at is not that I have no hope or that I think there's no options. It's that we need to fucking plant seeds way further back. When by the time we get to the end of the last episode, we're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, there's a lot of different things they could have done, but you don't like the idea of Barriss, Ryan?
I hate what they did to Barriss in TCW in general, like how they changed her character and made her fucking terrorist, but I don't want them to keep bringing back random people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but she's still around.
Yeah, but there's an unlimited amount of people who may or may not be still around that we didn't technically see killed, and then you bring them back as like, well, who else survived? I am totally of the opinion that, like, you could theoretically, you know, we haven't found out exactly what happened to her, so I agree, she's out there, it's a possibility, but I am totally of the opinion that they need to stop bringing back these characters and make new characters move forward with that. Because guess what? The characters that they're bringing in, all they're doing is hurting them more. They can't actually like write them effectively. So all you end up doing is destroying a character that had some value before. So they need to focus on making new characters for people to get behind and people to like start actually being fans of. How many characters have they created in the past decade that people actually want more of in a different way?
They're all in Andor.
Well, I would say, as much as I think the storylines are kind of mid for the games, I do think that Cal Kestis is a character that people like. You know, they've done that, and that I don't know how much Lucasfilm was even involved in that, and how much of it was just Respawn. But I think Cal Kestis is one of the few characters you can say that people want to see more of him, even though that's just another Jedi who survived Order 66. But it's few and far between when it comes to that. But that's what you have to push this franchise forward, because every time they go back and dig somebody else up, they end up destroying it, or they fuck up canon, or they turn this character into somebody they were never meant to be. Babu Frick, yes, Babu Fricks, the Fricks. A lot of
the Frick family need to be further explored. I agree with that.
I know some people who really love the Fricks in Mandalorian season 3.
Thanks to Book of Boba Fett, I know that a pointy stick is a more reliable way to kill someone than an actual lightsaber.
Yep.
Pointy stick. Who killed someone with a pointy stick?
Well, he quote unquote killed
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane, yeah, but he's not dead.
No,
no one's ever really gone.
Especially if it's a stick.
Cobb Vanth isn't gone either.
No, he's back already, pretty much.
Hey, Ryan, Theory MauLer, Morph has butts 3 times with Logan. What?
God, you can't read sometimes.
Says Morph has butt sex with Logan.
Oh. Right.
Morph has butt 3 times.
3 times.
Well, okay. Ryan, you're crazy. Everyone knows that proton torpedoes can't melt reactor cores. Don't get me started on docking bay 7. 0 BBY was an inside job.
Oh, man. Let's not get into that. I don't know if they allowed those Death Star conspiracy theories on YouTube.
Yeah, it might get shut down. Bill C11 here in Canada. Hello there. Your favorite French guy here. What's up, Pierre Garcia? You look like his face, Superman.
Lex Luthor.
Been a long time since my last super chat. Just wanted to say I love the new dynamic with the 3 of you. May the force be with you all. Well, I'm glad you like it, man. Chat, do you guys like the dynamic we got going on here? I know the answer is yes. I just want engagement, so spam 1.
Well, to be fair, I hope that a lot of them say no as well, because that means we cause tension, conflict, which is even better.
I don't know. For a time when Star Wars is like dead, the views here, the live stream viewers are insane. 3,500 live. Like, in the most dry time of Star Wars, I mean, pretty good.
Well, I mean, you know, not to fucking look behind the curtain, so to speak, but the whole reason why this can last a lot longer than 3 people who know really everything about each other and they're talking about new Star Wars stuff would probably die quicker is because we don't actually know a lot of each other's backgrounds fully about what we know and think about Star Wars.
Yeah, and we disagree and have different opinions on shit. But yet we're mates.
Yeah, and like, we have completely different ways of thinking.
Yep.
Not just about Star Wars, but about life, I think, in a lot of ways. So it's good.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, who knows, right? We haven't explored a lot. That's kind of the future of this show, in theory.
Yeah.
In Star Wars theory.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe this guy's a racist next to me. Who knows?
Ryan? Oh, yeah.
Me? I search YouTube.
Yeah.
It's literally an autocomplete on tags. Like when you're like tagging a video, like Ryan Kennel. Right below is trash and Batman review is racist. So
wow, nice. Hey, you made it.
I made it.
Hey, Theory and MauLer, can you debate ESB versus Revenge of the Sith?
Do you like which one's better? Which do you prefer? Is Revenge of the Sith your favorite?
It really depends. They both have such different feels. Revenge of the Sith, I'd say, is... Right now, I'm leaning towards... It's tough, man. They're both
Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. Definitively, Empire Strikes Back is a better, like, take a step back, a better movie. But I love Revenge of the Sith. It's my favorite Star Wars movie all time.
I really like Revenge of the Sith. I like all the prequels. I think I would say I love Revenge of the Sith. I thoroughly enjoy watching it. Warts and all sort of thing.
I mean, fuck, they're just both so great.
But like ESB is that's just top tier to me. Empire is bitching.
If MauLer was able to read, I would tell him to read the Revenge of the Sith novelization to see how much cool shit was left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I know.
But he can't read, so I won't.
I can barely hear.
Nice. Yeah, I'll say Revenge of the Sith. The real question is, where's Bosk? Up your
It's
butt.
gonna show up somewhere.
Oh, hey, what about like best payoff in all of Star Wars? All Star Wars content ever for the three of us.
Payoff?
Yeah, so just big moment.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm your father.
Interesting. I would choose the throne room probably, with Luke sparing Vader.
The biggest
Yeah.
payoff.
What exactly do you mean by payoff?
Yeah,
Like,
I was gonna say because like Vader
Moment.
and Luke.
like surprise?
So it could be a couple things, right? Someone killing someone, or someone revealing something, or a sequence of action, or a sequence of intrigue that gets explained. Anything in particular comes to mind of a section? I didn't want to say scene. I would rather say payoff.
I'd say the most emotional for me would have to be either when Anakin is racing to find his mom, just that moment in the desert where you get Duel of the Fates, or when Luke is saying "Father, please," and then Vader's looking back and forth, and then lifts the Emperor.
Yeah, those are
So,
big ones.
probably.
To me, I think that like Battle of the Heroes in Revenge of the Sith, when you're because when I think of payoff, I think of things I'm anticipating and shit like that. Whereas I was never anticipating, Vader being Luke's father the first time I watched Empire, right?
Oh.
So when I think of payoff, it's like something I'm like anticipating. And to that, cutting between that and Yoda and Palpatine's fight, I think that to me is, as a Star Wars fan in a fucking theater, that to me has to be like the best payoff of all.
Like a big one for me was Order 66. I was so sad watching all the Jedi get killed. I was like, it's not fair, especially because of the fact that they felt so almost invincible in the after the first two prequels. You're like, these fuckers, they can't be dealt with. But then you see Kiadi Mundi. He was leading them. He was going across that bridge, and boom,
Done.
they traited him.
Game over, dude.
I wish we wouldn't have had that leaf in front of Ayla Sakura. We could have just seen her. I want to see the blaster bolts hit her.
I think
otherwise she could be alive.
She will be alive. You watch.
Damn, dude. Dark. Over under 50% Ahsoka shows up in Bad Batch.
Oh, surely, but surely she's not showing up, right?
I don't think so, man. Why would she?
That would be funny though.
Well, why would she still be alive? Period. I don't know. I'd have to listen. If Filoni's name is attached anywhere, there's always going to be a chance that Ahsoka shows up. Just for the record.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say 50. I would say 20%.
Oh, sick. Is that Balin and Shin? Cool. Why tell stories around the Skywalker saga? Leave it be. Acolytes is too close for comfort now. Why not do Xana? Disney loves female characters, and it's an untold story. I would love to see the Bane trilogy, though.
Yeah, so ironically, two of my most highly anticipated, obviously we all hate women here, but two of my most highly anticipated Star Wars projects before Disney bought Star Wars was the Darth Zana, getting Darth Zana's story after we saw the Darth Bane trilogy, which Drew Karpyshyn was more than willing to do, and also the Sword of the Jedi trilogy, which was about Jaina Solo, who's the daughter of Han and Leia. That would have taken place probably around 45 to 50 years ABY. Would have been fucking awesome. Those are two of my most highly anticipated projects that got shit canned when Disney bought Star Wars.
Well, Ryan, now you have Acolyte, so
Exciting stuff.
I am excited for that, not because I think it's going to be good, but
I always thought the premise was good, and then found out Leslie Headland was saying the things she said, and I'm like, okay. And
her favorite Star Wars is all the Star Wars, by the way.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, she was asked what her favorite Star Wars movie is. She's like, I love all the Star Wars. I just want to live in the universe in perpetuity.
Cool.
That's what she said.
Nice.
Maybe because she couldn't name one. Even though it was at the Rise of Skywalker premiere. Could at least probably name that one. She could have turned around and seen the board behind her.
Well, it seems like she wanted to be political and give an answer that no one can really say anything about.
Maybe.
Means she wants to be liked.
Are you gonna do a watch party for the episodes, Ryan?
I've never done a watch party before. I don't think I'd be very entertaining.
I think you
Um,
should be
I
entertaining. What do you mean?
Like, usually when I watch stuff, I'm just like this.
That's usually me as well.
That's me.
And I don't even really like when I'm not when I don't have any other people, I don't really laugh. Like, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But-
No, I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh my God, did you see that? Oh, wow.
He
No.
Vadered.
Oh.
Do you point out that it's red? He doesn't, he doesn't know these
Lightsaber is
memes.
red.
What?
I feel bad. I don't want him to make him say mean things about anyone that he doesn't want.
MauLer
Oof.
did a video compiling a lot of interesting reactions to Ahsoka, and yeah, that's where it's red comes from. You'd have to watch his video to understand it.
Where is this?
in
It's
the
on
Ahsoka
the
video.
channel called MauLer.
Yeah, I know that. But
Oh, sorry.
what's the video called?
It's the Ahsoka one. It's my only Ahsoka one.
Oh,
my
it's
newest
Probably
video.
like one video ago.
It's like the 30-minute one, right?
It's literally the newest video, I think. Still, because that's
Wait, it's been that long since you uploaded a video.
motherfucker. I take.
He's got
forever.
another channel. I upload a MauLer.
He
That's
already
his answer.
like that is true though. I make shit tons of stuff on MauLer. It's like
5
your
months ago?
primary channel is my secondary channel.
5 months ago?
Hell yeah.
And it was literally just 'cause he got so angry at
did.
Ahsoka episode 5 that he had to make a video. Otherwise, we still wouldn't have seen one yet.
My subscribers are the starving in the desert people, and I'm like,
And
I got a
he's not
second
willing to
channel,
just
okay?
piss down their throat to keep them
No.
alive, right? He waits, he goes, he prepares a nice meal, a 5-course dinner while they're starving in the desert, and then he slowly walks it back to them. And once a year, you get fed and you stay
I
alive.
set the plate down next to the skeletons. I'm like, you
Yeah,
guys.
some of
can
them
eat
die
it.
off, and the others are, oh, MauLer, thank you. Imagine if you released one of those videos once a week.
Why the? That's not. We could have a whole episode talking about how we make stuff because I like
No, like you could have your long ones that are like 6 hours long, like I see here, and then you could have the ones that are like, you have one that's
what's the second channels for?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
See?
Okay, all right, fair enough.
J-Bach for 199 says no fat Mace Windu equals terrible season. Simple as that.
Well, at least we can all agree on that. Hey, Ryan, what do you think about Mace Windu coming back in Star Wars?
What do I think of Samuel L. Jackson hitting the point in time where he's just willing to do anything? It is what it is. Obviously, we know what Theory's doing with Vader episode 2 and everything like that. Like to me, for them to bring again, I'm tired of Lucasfilm bringing back characters that we've seen before. It's time to move past this. It's time to tell new stories. And I think that George intended for Mace Windu to die when he flew out that fucking window. That's what I think.
Of course.
Now, the problem is, once you get a Maul, and I do think Maul's like the point. It's like, if you can justify him surviving,
Yeah.
man, you can really justify a lot of things. So yeah, do I think that after seeing a dude cut in half, fall 300 kilometers down a shaft, go to a garbage planet, live with a fucking worm for a decade, literally not be able to poop, not be able to shit because he has no asshole anymore? Do I think that guy, if he can survive, can I buy the fact that Mace Windu just got his arm cut off and was thrown off a ledge and was able to survive? Yeah, I can. But I don't think he should be brought back.
But also, he doesn't have the dark side. And Maul is very unique.
This is what I will say about Mace, is that if there's anyone on the Jedi Council that would be able to tap into the dark side, it's probably the practitioner of the pad. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like I think that's, I could see that
fair point.
happening.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very fair
and
point.
it's funny because with this one, I'm like, fucking, it would be amazing to have him back in his prime, angry and vengeful and wanting to do all kinds of shit. But like, I would never believe in a million years that Disney would be able to handle bringing back Mace Windu in any way, shape, or form that would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy with my script. I think everything's done really nicely and it makes sense and it's not like fan fiction-y in a sense. So I'm excited for you guys to see it, and I hope you'll be at the premiere with me. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, man.
Do you have any idea, like, what's the time frame left on that? I know you've obviously got stills and stuff you've shown and everything, but
Yeah, I mean, hey, working every single day, it's costing me a lot every month. Working as fast as we can. Production got ramped up like crazy in January. So for episode 2, the issue is that we're creating everything from the ground up. Like, we're literally from scratch. We're not using fucking Battlefront assets or whatever. We're literally making and rigging and doing everything from the freaking vines that are on the stone walls, the brick walls, to the characters themselves and their cloth simulation and their facial expressions and the wrinkles. And so it's extremely tedious work, but it's taken time. And I believe the answer to your question is probably, if you want to be extremely hopeful, December of 2024. If you want to be realistic, probably summer of 2025.
I'm more of a realist.
Yeah, so I think, summer would probably be a really good finished date. If we want to go even further, then we could say like the winter of or the fall of 2025, but I think that's even too much of a stretch. But then the thing with that is, since all the assets are created, then episode 3 will be relatively easy to make. So
yeah, you've got a lot of it. You don't have to redo a lot of that work. Yeah,
Hell no. It's all there, and we could probably release that a year afterwards. Maybe even sooner. So, excited.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, very excited.
MauLer told me he's going to be here for it. So,
oh, dude, I'd love it if you guys were there. I mean, I don't know if I'll do it in New York or in LA, but we'll see. We'll see. We did the first one in LA. If it's in the summer, man, maybe New York. What's easier for you guys to get to? I think New York for MauLer, right?
Fucking, that's not even. I haven't even met up with like all of the people that I've known now for like 4 years.
You gotta crawl out of the cave and get out a little bit. I don't care. Wear a mask or something. You could wear like a Phantom of the Opera mask.
You could just use an accent the entire time. No one would have any idea.
It's true.
You could talk like Tarkin the entire time.
Just wear a disguise. No, but that's what I want. I want to have like a huge meetup, a huge premiere, and have like you, Jeremy, a whole bunch of YouTubers out there that I like. Yeah, be good, and then all the fans and everything. Be great.
Hell yeah.
What's up, Mariana? Ahsoka and the Clone Wars are a huge part of my childhood and helped me through bad times. Hearing Ryan shit on it and fans like me is a fucking bummer and mood killer. I don't go and shit on the EU. Why does he and MauLer feel the need to do it? Why? Before they get into, I don't think they feel the need to shit on anyone's childhood. I think they're just speaking their mind, and as a fan, they're able to kind of give their point of view and their opinion, which I think should be encouraged.
I feel like it's been absolutely bloody obvious that me and Ryan have stepped around upsetting anybody while trying to express what we think and feel about the state of the storytelling in Star Wars, not just now, but in the past. And the fact that this is considered offensive is actually sad. That's pretty much my take on it.
Yeah, I think that I could be a lot harsher if I wanted to, but I'm giving my opinions, right? And sometimes my opinions are brutally honest about what I think about something. At the same time, I understand that that's my opinion. Sometimes I don't understand why Theory could see something, watch something, and see like it's different than my opinion. Like, I saw this. How could you not be upset about that? I'm not sitting here trying to change his opinion or tell him that, he's somehow better or worse than me for having that opinion. I'm just saying it's not something I agree with.
Yeah, man.
And for stuff in the EU, like books like Crystal Star, I'm going to shit all over that because I think it's bad. The Jedi Academy trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. Love Kevin J. Anderson. I think that series is kind of shit. And I think he gets his depictions of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo completely wrong. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to shit all over something if I don't think it's good. Because to me, if you, just like we kind of talked about Chris Stuckman earlier, if you never are willing to say you think something's bad or give your actual opinion when you do think it's bad, then your praise means absolutely nothing. That's how I feel about it. That's my perspective. So
Completely agree.
if you feel like by me talking about how much I don't like this character or I didn't like the Clone Wars or whatever, if you feel like that's a personal attack against you, that it's certainly not intended that way. It's me talking about the product itself. And spoiler alert, I might have a different opinion than you, and that's okay. If you want to criticize the expanded universe because you think there's some bad storytelling, go for it. I might have some arguments with you, just like you might have some arguments with me. But just because it's important to you doesn't mean that something's going to not get my actual opinion. That's how I feel.
Well, and for the record, me and Ryan's power levels are much lower than necessarily we are at our meanest on other channels. Like, we've got reputations that are probably worse than what we've said here today. This is what I mean about I'm just surprised. Like, really? What we've said here is already too much? Like, damn.
Wait, you mean you tone it down here?
Don't
Don't do
I
that.
adapt to the audience a bit.
Yeah, because
fuck that.
what you have to remember, Theory, is that our audiences are used to like what we think and feel, so that we are like more comfortable to just sort of like experiment with some other jokes or edgier sides of like the points of view that we have. But here, like, we don't want you to but the problem is we don't want you to misunderstand us. So when we say something like, God, this is the worst fucking shit, you'll be like, wait, that you think this is the worst? And you're like, no, I'm just, like, that's sort of like miscommunication.
I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not.
What's
the English word? Daft? What?
Daft. That's a good one. He's not saying we're being fake. What he's just saying is we're going to make sure that we're going to go a little bit of an extra mile because there's an audience that might not always be used to where we're coming from, to try to explain maybe why we think that or this.
They'll figure it out in time. They'll see what you're like. But no, by all means, I want you guys to be comfortable and just be yourselves.
Yeah. And for the record, Mariana, I'm really glad that you have something that you love like that. For me, that's obviously the expanded universe and shit. And I think for a lot of people, it's different areas of Star Wars. But we all have our opinions. It's okay to have disagreements.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's supposed to have different opinions. I often use that freaking, whenever people are like, oh yeah, this means a lot to me, and it's like, well, I don't give a fuck if it means a lot to you. I'm gonna have my opinion. I'm not gonna like shut my mouth when I'm speaking respectfully about something just because you like it a lot. Well, how about me? I don't like it a lot, and I'm gonna voice my opinion. So it's like, and it's the same vice versa for the other person. It's like, well, I don't expect them to shut their mouths just because I really like freaking Anakin Skywalker. You know how many years I got made fun of online because I was always pushing Anakin Skywalker and everything, but now he's like the fan favorite because it's the new fucking in thing. So it's like, whatever, man, just speak your mind and just be respectful of the people, and that's it.
Well, it's worth bearing in mind, right? Like saying, don't attack this thing. It's something that helped me in my childhood, sort of stuff. It's like there are people out there who feel it destroyed their childhood, right?
Literally.
So how do we balance it between those two people? Like, are we supposed to say it's worse or better based on? It's like, well, no, we'll just say what we think. We'll say what we believe, honestly.
That's how I feel about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would agree. I think that was probably the most damage done in like a single entity from the Star Wars canon. That was a stake to the heart, that one.
Yep. Jaundice theory.
Right. Bro, that guy's me. That's like me in like a weird filter. That's my background, right?
I think that's the joke of the three of us together, is it?
Oh my god.
Oh.
There you go. That's the plushie.
And it's yellow. Fuck, dude. That's horrible.
Holy shit.
It just needs the Egyptian hat.
Yeah. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should put the Egyptian hat on Ryan for his plushie.
Pharaoh Ryan.
Do we get canceled for that? No, I don't think so.
Maybe.
I think I'm uncancelable at this point.
I think we all are. What show do y'all like more, Ahsoka or Mandalorian? Mandalorian.
I'll say Mandalorian as well, even though I don't like it.
I'll do the nuance because I'm the bestest ever. But I would take Ahsoka over Mando season 3, but I would take Mando seasons 1 and 2 over Ahsoka. Because Jesus Christ, that's his season. Holy shit.
Yeah. Super important. Did Anakin scrap his episode 2 saber after breaking it, or did he build the Graflex off the damaged portion of his episode 2 saber? I think he scrapped the whole thing. Yeah. Or he just remade it. Yeah,
I don't know if he ever got it back. You know what I
Well, it
mean?
was broken. It was fucked up.
Yeah, it was like fucked up and it wouldn't work in the factory. But like, when after that would he have gotten it? You know what I mean?
He wouldn't have.
That's a story for a comic book.
Mm.
I wish Star Wars was good instead of keys jingling. I want actual stories. Hail the 199.
Well, yeah, like, you know, if it were Savage Opress and they fought him and they beat him and he turned into like a black mist or something because he's like the fart from, you know, Morocco's. I mean, like, would you really be like, well, that finale was pretty good now? Like I assume you'd just be like, eh.
No, it'd still be the same. It would be like, well, it'd be a little bit more exciting while I was watching, but it would still be like, oh, okay.
This
But,
is how I randomly am like, we are on the same page, I think. I'm not sure.
Well, we got to keep asking questions to each other, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's wait till I see Madam Web and I'll love it. I love how everyone talks about every single Star Wars animated show, but everyone ignores that Star Wars Resistance exists. Oh, dude, I'd never watched it.
And that Dave Filoni was the freaking architect of that.
Yeah, I don't watch that.
Oh.
I don't watch that garbage.
How much of it was there?
I only know one person in my actual life that watched Star Wars Resistance. I think there was 2 seasons. Is that right?
Let's find out.
Also, MauLer, I webbed to Madam Web. Rossi, I'm hoping Peridia is giving Sabine her power, and it will disappear.
There are 50 episodes?
After they get off the planet, since Peridia is so rich.
You tell me there are 50 episodes of a Star Wars TV show that nobody cares about?
Yeah, like probably 25 episodes per season or something.
Damn.
It's takes place. I mean, it's about the fucking Resistance, so it's a sequel series.
Oh, no one cares.
And it also, the animation's kind of strange.
It is a little weird.
I remember seeing the trailer for it, but I never watched any of it.
It's about
Dude, I had
Poe.
no idea. Damn.
Yeah, it's about Poe. Yeah.
You don't need to watch that one.
Ryan,
No, I
take the
never
bullet
heard
and
of
watch all of it and tell us what it's like.
Oh my god.
All right.
We should all watch
Like,
episode
that's the one thing I've avoided, but it actually does. It is kind of important. Who is that? That cocksucker senator in Ahsoka, who's like, just like, well, you were probably lying about that. Oh, of course, like that. You know what I'm
That
talking
guy,
about?
yeah.
Oh, the guy at the end? Yeah.
Well, the guy who's works for the New Republic. That guy is, I'm pretty sure, the father of the kid from Resistance, like the main character from Star Wars Resistance, but I forget his fucking name. So it is kind of important. Shout out to Dave Filoni for continuing to make those sequel connections that we always knew were going to happen.
Looks like his name is Kaz. Poe Dameron is tasking him with the job of spying on the secretive First Order. Ooh.
Fuck. Yeah, Rossi, I don't think Peridia grants extra force powers, because then everyone would be hyped up, roided up. Wait, so did the New Republic not go to Mustafar and look into the castle, find the Sith holocron, keep it in a vault somewhere, maybe?
So, I mean, there is reason to... If Mustafar was like at least somewhat of a base for Empire dealings, you'd think the New Republic would be interested in cleaning it out.
Okay.
And if they did, they would have found the holocron, yeah.
So the thing with... There was a scene that was actually cut from the film. So there was this Eye of the Webbish Bog, which is this massive spider head, and then on top of it is like this actual being that's controlling the head. It was a massive head with a spider on top of the head. It was like a baby's head.
Yeah.
And
looked like something from Toy Story that came out of under Sid's bed.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Let me bring it up. And this Eye of the Webbish Bog essentially works as like a somewhat oracle, somewhat gatekeeper for the Wayfinder, and not everyone can get it. And Kylo Ren got it. Right here. Let me show you.
Mm-hmm. I remember because when the first leaks came out, the actual Rise of Skywalker leaks that MauLer and I went over on EFEP.
Good times.
This was still in it, I think. Like they hadn't cut this out yet.
Yeah, this was in the leaks, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this would have been pretty cool. It would have been, and then so there's a comic where Vader goes and he actually gets the Wayfinder from this creature thing, and Yeah. So I covered a comic from there.
Well, but like
Wow,
the way it's
okay.
presented in the film is Kylo kills a whole bunch of creatures. I don't even know who or what they are, and then he opens up a tablet and there's the holocron, right? Like it's.
Yeah, they
I
cut out this
assume-
whole scene, which I think would have been really cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
so, not surprised, man.
I don't know how much cooler it would have been than the rest of the movie. But
I think it would have added to it. I think it would have been pretty fun to see. It would have been a little more mystic and
it is definitely like that scene would have added a little more context to Kylo just randomly being on this planet that you might not even know was Mustafar. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
doing
Well,
stuff like that.
and the thing that I explained in the breakdown with the movie when it came out was that Mustafar looks like this now because of the game. Did you ever play the VR game?
Nah, I
The
never played it.
Vader
No.
Immortal. Do you know what happens?
I've heard people talk about it. But
Yeah, basically,
yeah.
like you reset Mustafar back to what it was, and it's supposed to be like a green lush planet. So now the planet's healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I have Webbish Bog.
I would have liked to see it. Would have been neat. Big fan of the stream and glad to have MauLer and Ryan a part of it. Ryan or Theory, do you have any good Star Wars book recommendations? Or Ryan, you kill this question.
I have a million of them. If you haven't read them before, I think the first place everyone should start, if you've never read them before, is read the original Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. That takes place about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. For a lot of people that saw Return of the Jedi were wondering, had a bunch of questions. What's Luke going to do? Are Han and Leia going to be together? What happens to the Empire? It answers a lot of those questions that people were wanting in the aftermath of the original trilogy. So if you've never read it before, I'd start there. If you like Sith kind of shit, I'd read the Darth Bane trilogy. It takes place about 1,000 years before the movies. If you're really into military stuff or dogfighting, shit like that, I'd read the Rogue Squadron books. Those don't have, well, it has a tiny bit of Jedi and Force stuff, but very, very minimal. Mostly it's just about Rogue Squadron, about military stuff, about how they dealt with the military apparatus when just because the Emperor dies doesn't mean the Empire's gone. It's actually a really long battle that takes place out for decades between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant. So I'd recommend the Rogue Squadron series as well. I don't know.
What was the one that you said there's like a fuck ton of Jedi Adventures? No, Jedi Quest?
Well, so
for kids.
The Jedi Apprentice books. The Jedi Apprentice novels, I love those. Those came out like right along with Phantom Menace. And there's a lot of those books, but it basically follows Obi-Wan, like a 13-year-old Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon, and how Obi-Wan became Qui-Gon's apprentice and a lot of the different journeys and missions and stuff that they go on. Those books are fucking awesome, dude. For what they were, for, little like 100-page,
I want to order a few of
kids'
them
books.
right now. I want to order a few of them. Hold on.
I've got the whole set in storage somewhere. Yeah.
Jedi Apprentice, eh? Is there a favorite that you have?
I've reread the first 2 books like a million times. So I would say those
Oh,
are
with
probably, like, my
hold on,
favorites.
is it with Xanatos?
Yes.
Oh fuck, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. Okay.
Xanatos is Qui-Gon's old apprentice who fell to the dark side.
Yeah. Dude, these are fucking awesome.
Yeah, they were really cool.
Yeah.
And you know what the best part about it is that Obi-Wan's not some because when you read those books, you're like, I'm gonna find out about Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's not some fucking prodigy or like just super powerful. He almost essentially fails out of the Jedi Order.
Yeah,
he's on his last legs, and he thinks he's basically done. And Qui-Gon refused to take him as apprentice because of the shit Qui-Gon had been through before. And like eventually, because the Force just kind of keeps pushing them together, they realize that it's kind of like meant to be. And he ends up becoming Qui-Gon's apprentice, which is awesome.
I can't find the first one.
It's a picture of fucking young Obi-Wan just holding a fucking lightsaber straight up his fucking... it's called... Hold on.
The Rising Force?
Yeah, that's it. I think.
Yeah, he's like levitating it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Used as hell. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to hunt for those in a bit. I worked on Madam Web as production assistant. Sure you did.
Hope it was fun.
Ryan,
What's that guy's name? Skyscanner Black Guy?
Yeah, so when I was coming home from Miami, I was in the airport and I was live streaming, and there was this guy who was like, she talked to me for like probably like 40 minutes in the airport, and he started talking about how Skyscanner has like the best prices and stuff, and he was really helpful. And then chat goes ahead, and it was first Skyscanner guy, then it was like Skyscanner guy's kid, and then it's like Skyscanner guy, but he's white or something like that, and then now it's Skyscanner Black Guy, but the guy was like Latino, so I don't know. It's just different variations, I suppose. Please make my day and say Filoni baloney.
Filoni baloney. For the love of God, hashtag cancel Disney Plus.
Rewatching Rebels, there's a throwaway line in season 2 about Sabine being a Jedi. The Force theme also is spammed with her. I hate it, but it was set up.
So there's a lot of people that have like gone back retroactively. They're like, oh, look at when she's training with Kanan. I don't know if that is the Darksaber arc or not in season 2. It would have been season 3 with the Darksaber arc with her, right?
3. I think it's 3. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, send me a DM of what episode it is, and I'll look at it.
Couldn't tell you too much. Theory, how's Vader 2 going? It's going great, man. Going great. Working on it every day. People all around the world. Ryan, how can a panel of people all just automatically bash X-Men 97? What is this X-Men 97? Are they redoing the old X-Men?
So it's a continuation of the X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Oh, cool.
That's how it is marketed. And, you know, there some of the stuff that the showrunner said even a year or two ago made people a little hesitant because he's like, it's a really different world now than it was back then. You know, we were dealing with things in that time. Now the world has changed, and we're going to bring basically 2020s back into this 90s cartoon. Whenever we hear stuff like that, people are going to be a little hesitant. Now we find out that Morph, who obviously, you know, if you're familiar with the series, Morph could morph into anybody. Well, Morph now, even though going by he, him pronouns for the entirety of the 90s thing, he's now non-binary. And there's some character design stuff in terms of, listen, they took away Rogue's ass and titties. That's what they did. So there's people that have problems with that. Overall, like the trailer by itself, I like not if I was just coming from an outside perspective and Disney Marvel hadn't fucked up a bunch of stuff and I didn't hear any of the stuff out there about the showrunner or the character descriptions, and I just watched the trailer, I'd be like, okay, like I'm kind of interested. I love when the fucking music hit. I love hearing that X-Men theme. It's one of the coolest themes we have like in comic book history.
Yeah.
But overall, the trailer was fine to me. But there's a lot of stuff that people are rightly worried about, I think, based on what we've seen over the past couple of years. But Kevin says, Ryan, how can a panel of people just automatically bash X-Men 97? It was so epic to hear the theme and see the characters. Can we wait and see it, then bash it? No one was hyped at all. Well, what I will say, I don't know which panel you're talking about. By the time we talked about the trailer on FNT, I had probably seen the trailer like 5 fucking times. So that's part of it. But I mean, I was fairly okay about it when we reacted to it on Geeks and Gamers Daily. You know, you can go back and watch that stream. I think on that Thursday or Wednesday or whatever that was. But I understand why people. I'm not as attached to X-Men 90 or the X-Men cartoon as I am to a lot of other things. So I'm not going to be as up in arms about some of this shit because it just, I have as much emotional attachment to it. But some people really do.
What would you say is your like number one fandom, like your end all be all?
Star Wars, 100% Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
What about you?
I have to think about that for a while. I'm trying to think of like what do I end up talking about the most. It probably is Star Wars, but there's so many game franchises and then film franchises and then shows and ones that are still going, ones that are dormant that I still love talking about. How would you like define it? Do you mean like the thing that you think about the most?
The thing that's most important to you. If they were to change something, you'd be like devastated.
Oh, that's Buffy
Roman
the Vampire
Empire.
Slayer. If they touched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'd probably kill somebody.
I mean, I love Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potter franchise. I'm like deathly afraid, but also super hyped about this series that they're doing. Because I think it's the I think it's absolutely the right way to do those shows is like an 8 to 10 hour series for each book. 1000%. It would fix so many problems the movies have. Even though I like the movies, like I like the movies. I don't hate any of the movies, even though Half-Blood Prince is one of my favorite books. So it's frustrating to see a poor adaptation of that. But anyway, that is absolutely the way to see them, is in that type of episodic format. But I'm deathly afraid of things they might change about Harry Potter.
Well, maybe that helps illustrate the X-Men thing, right? Like, if I heard anyone was making new Buffy, I'd be like, oh, fucking hell. And then someone would be like, why? What the hell? You haven't even seen it yet. And I'd be like, I'm for the same reason that I was hyped 20 years ago whenever anything new for a franchise came out, because I assumed it would be good. Nowadays, I assume it'll be bad. Right. And so, because X-Men's interesting, some people are asking me for my opinion. I don't really have one. Like, I saw a couple of the episodes of the animated series back then, and I liked it. That's something I wouldn't mind just watching, like, now even at some point. But the idea of these new episodes, I saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm obviously familiar with the theme as well, and I was like, looks fine to me. And then, you know, like, yeah, sure, wait for it to come out, give it a chance. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it or not. I might, just to make sure I, you know, can keep up with people talking about it. But I guess my passion isn't quite there, so I don't really have much to say, if you know what I mean.
The thing is, I think people have earned so much bad will over the past 5 years that for anyone to automatically say, well, they deserve the benefit of the doubt. I think fans have just been so royally fucked that I don't think that that's realistic. You know, if there's some people or creators or whatever that have earned your goodwill, that's an individual case by case basis, and that's fine. You know, but for a lot of fans out there, they feel like they've been screwed. They feel like everything that they cared about is being bastardized and used, that their nostalgia is being taken advantage of. The reality is, if you wanted to make an X-Men series and you wanted to make it about modern day, whatever, blah, 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 you wanted to have all the non-binary characters you wanted in the world, man, go create X-Men 2024, the new whatever. But that's not what they're doing. They're making an extension, essentially a sequel to the 90s cartoon that's supposed to be set in 97. You know, that's not the place that's the place to replicate what so many people loved from the 90s, to continue that on, not to change the way you're supposed to tell that story.
Yeah. Theory Bad Batch Season 3 is on 2/21, not 2/20.
Maybe it comes out tomorrow night at like 8 or something.
Yeah, it comes out tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds, plus 1 second.
All right.
See what I mean?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Which characters would you like to see return? Mine would be Barris, Commander Cody, or Slick. Would be nice to see how they'd evolve. For me, I want to see Quinlan Voss return.
Fundamental answer is bring back nobody. Like, if we're talking broad as opposed to specifically Bad Batch or whatever, because I just don't trust how they're going to deal with stuff. However, like, the legitimate answer, just because it would amuse me, is to force them to bring back and give stories to people like Jar Jar Binks. I just want to see what Disney would do. Some like joke characters, you know, because it would just be funny.
Bro, I still remember the first rumors about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series where he finds like a bearded Jar Jar. Like old man Jar Jar.
You know, on the top, like, if I was to take it seriously and the guarantee was to be handled well, so who do you want to see return? Do I have to pick people who've like left / assumed dead, or can I just pick anything?
Anything.
If it was anything, I'd be aiming for like Count Dooku. He's one of the people I'm most interested in seeing like new and more content for.
I think you'd enjoy Tales of the Jedi. I really do.
I do think I think he would too. And he wouldn't probably have some of the same complaints I do about it.
I don't think so, no. I think those 3 episodes, man, I think you'd get a kick out of them. 10 minutes each.
I want my Dooku political thriller and my Dooku doing the whole getting Django in place for the cloning.
Oh, so you want Jango Fett Bounty Hunter game adapted?
That, and yeah, because I feel that's a TV show right there. Just gimme, and then
easy.
But again, this is my brain every time is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, I know it would be shit because they would fuck it up."
But what if it's not? What if it's
that would be wonderful, Theory. I would love it.
Yeah, it'd be great. Should someone make a fan film of all the director's cuts or novelizations of the prequel films? Make it in animation, 10 plus hours of peak Star Wars. Only thing is Disney would have a temper tantrum. Fan film of all the director's cuts or novelizations of the prequel films. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that'd be cool. Like all the
Someone said,
scenes
"What
from
do you
the
think?
books.
Dooku's storyline is a masterpiece. Like, it doesn't exist. That's my whole issue. I want it to exist. His whole story.
Yeah.
There's a lot more background in in a lot of EU stuff, and even in the Plagueis novel, and you start to see the like how he was able to be manipulated and everything into doing what he did. It's interesting. What
Did
is
you
the
ever read-
God? What's the book? Dark Rendezvous. Did you, it's a Clone Wars era novel, but it involves. It's one of the only books where we get a lot of insight into Yoda and Dooku. And God, it felt in that book, it felt like Dooku was damn close to turning back.
Damn, I got to read that one.
I was going to say that's
Yeah.
another aspect I'd love to see played with. And I would have loved to have seen Christopher Lee doing it as well. But obviously, it's
Oh, I wish.
asking
dude.
too much at this point.
Yeah, but it's absolutely insane what this technology now can do. You could literally bring anyone, but like what they did with Tarkin, and then with the voices, like you just AI voice at this point. It's incredible.
I'm not as in favor of that shit until they nail it, and until we get like through any ethical quandaries. I'd rather not. Like the Luke Skinwalker stuff was throwing me off completely.
Well, that's old tech. I think the new tech that they're doing, like they got now, is absolutely amazing. Like what they did with what Shamook was doing, we got hired for with the deepfake stuff.
I don't mind if we get the right recast. I don't mind at all.
Okay. Who do you
Problem
think?
is, problem is, it can't be like Book of Boba Fett, where every shot of we actually get of his face, he's like standing still or whatever because of that tech, and like so you're limited in
Yeah.
what you can do.
Yeah.
I overall am a fan of just recasting. That's what I'm a fan of. I think it's perfectly fine. I think there's a reason. Be like, hey, like the guy who plays Luke in Book of Boba Fett, who was like the guy before they did, he looks so much like Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yeah.
Now, might not sound anything like him, I don't know, but like I feel like you could do it. And to me, even the way he specifically looks isn't as important as the vibe he gives off. Like,
well,
I could have been okay with Alden Ehrenreich as someone who doesn't look a ton like Harrison Ford to me if his vibe had been better. But it's just tough because when you look at Lando and you look at whoever his nuts is, it felt like he was doing a Lando impression the entire time.
Yeah,
right.
Which also feels off.
Yeah.
So it's a very demanding thing. It's a very difficult thing.
I know.
But I think that recasting is the right way to do it.
If we
I could get behind it.
If this insane, crazy idea where they actually got Ewan and Hayden to do a live action Clone Wars with stuff that maybe hasn't been done yet, as in storylines haven't been explored yet, but I'm still in favor of the whole live action version of animated stories. I'm fine with that too. But if we had, and they were like, who are we gonna have as Dooku? We gotta have him in there, and it's like, well, feel like Charles Dance might be able to pull it off. And the thing about it is, if someone was to say, no, he doesn't sound enough like Lee, or he wouldn't have the same presence, it's like, I think that's okay, though, because I think he would do a really good job.
Yeah, I think he would, too. Oh, you're right.
And I think that we would be like, I love Christopher Lee and Charles Dance's Dooku. In the same vein that I think a lot of people like the animated Dooku, right? The guy who does the voice for him.
Oh, he's a great actor, this guy.
And, I don't know. Because if someone said, like, well, we'll use Dance and we'll CG Lee's face on him, so I'd be like, no, don't do that. It's fine. We can just be what it is. And again, as Ryan was saying, like I wouldn't want discount Lee or discount Tywin. I would want them to really give him strong writing and let him really play the character, right? Get into it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. What's up, Wolfsbane? Hey, fellas, in the context of Legends, prequels, and before the Clone Wars, who is your favorite prequel villain? I think mine's Dooku, with Grievous being a close second. Maul. I think Dooku is the most interesting, but I think Maul is probably my favorite villain.
I love the idea that Dooku, split from the Jedi and the Republic because he felt like they actually were oppressive or inefficient or whatever, combined with his interest in the dark side. I feel like there's just so much to explore there.
Yeah.
Dooku is the most interesting because he is human, right? But he has the human element to him. Is like we can kind of understand where he's coming from a little bit. Whereas Maul, literally just a killing machine, no real motivations from what we saw in Phantom Menace. And then Grievous, I wish we had got more of Grievous. So you can see like this is a fucking guy who has been a warrior his entire life, who literally the way he ended up in the form he was engineered just to turn him into someone who hated people so they could use him. And I think that Grievous had way more potential than we actually saw on screen.
I think all three of them do. I'd love to see more of. I'm about to say I'd love to see more of Maul, but it's like, oh, you can. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I guess I meant
you're going to see more.
potential.
You're going to see more of Maul.
I will. What I guess I meant was that we could have had a lot more of all three of them in the three movies. I feel like they could have been better served.
To me, they all served exactly what their purpose was, which was to prevent different sides of the person who would eventually become Darth Vader.
I get that.
That's really what I feel all of those characters really intended on being: the raw rage and fucking anger and martial, fucking channeling in a martial way of Darth Maul, the fallen Jedi, distrustful of the Jedi Order from Dooku, and then of course the cyborg fucking machine that he ends up becoming, this hybrid of real human parts and fucking machine. And I think that's really what it was intended in my mind. And I think it all, even though we could have used, it would have been cool to see more of this or more of that, I think it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't even realize is going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is like
Grievous backstory. Be dope.
I just give them more, all three of them. There's room. We can remove some of the.
Yeah, but they don't do it. Freaking hell, I do not know why. I don't know who this is.
Oh, hey, well, maybe that will happen. Who knows? Maybe that's planned to happen already. Could be. Maybe.
I heard a rumor.
Older Omega clone? What do you mean older Omega clone?
Maybe it was like a Jerry Seinfeld joke.
Django.
What's the deal with older Omega clone?
Django, yeah. At this point, certainly in canon, as far as I'm concerned, Django's cooler than Boba.
I mean, Dirge is pretty dope, but
Dirge is cool. Django's fun. If you listen, there's a difference between people. Like, there's two different types of people in the world: people who have played Bounty Hunter and people who have not played Bounty Hunter. Okay, for people that have played the Bounty Hunter game, you know that Jango Fett's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
regardless of what you saw on screen.
You could say the same for Boba, probably, regardless of him falling into the Sarlacc pit. He's pretty cool, okay?
Because Webb wasn't. You read this. I'm gonna go peek real quick.
Ryan, Madam Webb. So you misspelled it. Respect Madam Webb. There's an E on the end, and there's only one B. All right, Madam Webb wasn't just bad. It's bad. Like Halle Berry's Catwoman and Dragon Ball Evolution and Last Airbender. It was a discount shell of its namesake. And for what it wasn't, fool's gold and a pipe dream. Yeah, I think me and MauLer were talking about this a little bit. Man, this is just a good old-fashioned dog shit movie. Like, it's just a bad movie in like almost every conceivable way. It's bad, whether it's the writing, whether it's the dialogue, whether it's the editing, whether it's the cinematography, whether it's the sound mix, whether it's the ADR. And at the end of the day, the story they're telling. There's not too much redeemable about Madam Webb.
I don't know anything about Sydney Sweeney outside of the two main reasons people know it, and the acting from her in that movie. I was like, I hope she's better at the other stuff, because that was horrendous. I hope everyone was better at anything else.
Everybody seems better than what they are in that movie. The guy who plays Ezekiel feels like every one of his lines is an ADR nightmare. I think that movie. I think Dakota Johnson came out and said something 5 days ago that she's like, so much changed about the movie since the time I signed on, and I'm not allowed to talk about any of it. I would really love to hear all the shit. I think a lot of the people involved in it are pissed because of how bad it is and the way it's just a laughing stock.
There are quotes from the directors and the writers being like, this film, we captured what we were looking for, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I wonder if they're being honest. I don't know, or if I wonder if they legit, because the guy who fucking wrote all those other movies that are like
Morbius,
horrendous.
Gods of Egypt.
Yeah, and you think like, how many movies do you have to be a part of that you write before you can say like, okay, that's just a shit writer?
Yeah,
that's actually the thing that's been brought up with the Chris Stuckman stuff. And there was an account that basically said, you guys don't understand how the industry works so much that you should know that you can't even write a bad film without being a good writer. As in, like, to get in the door, you'd have to be a good writer, which
that was Joe Russo, right?
Yeah. I don't buy that at all.
Not Joe Russo from Marvel, the other Joe Russo, who's like a horror director or something.
Which one's like, he's invested in fucking saying that is true, but like the idea that there are no bad writers in Hollywood, they're all good. I just be like, okay, or at least you know,
it's like, what have we witnessed the past couple of years? Like,
dude, we had those videos for like Game of Thrones where they're like, oh yeah, Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet. It's like, so you're just a shit writer. Like, that's all it is at that point. You gotta blame the studio for that one.
Frieza arc for me. Frieza and Cell. You guys watch Dragon Ball?
Nope.
Ryan, no.
I have no fucking idea. I've heard that I'm like one of the guys there because I'm just angry at everything. But I don't know.
What's crazy is that me and Ryan don't like anything in Star Wars.
Listen, that's what people think. People are like, oh, do they like anything? It's like,
they're like not very intelligent. Like, oh, they hate Star Wars. It's like, yeah, you're not very smart.
I probably like more Star Wars than most people know exists. Like, that's the crazy thing.
I guess part of the funny thing for me is my name is built on Darth Maul. Like, that's where it comes from. So I'm just sitting here awkwardly like, yeah, I hate it, man. Like, it's bad, yeah.
I really wish that I could have seen people's reactions in a theater when Darth Maul showed up at the end of Solo.
Oh my God.
It's
like so funny.
Like, for people to just be like, where did he come from? Like, what's he doing here? And they literally needed to fucking show him igniting the lightsaber just so people knew it actually is Darth
like,
Maul.
oh, this is a Sith? Oh, okay, cool.
Just to turn it back off. It's just like, yep.
Just so you know, I'm serious, Kira.
Hopefully we get the continuation of that story someday. Maybe in a TV show. Bring back Emilia Clarke. Dude, she must hate being brought in at the tail end of franchises dying over and over again.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she was brought into Game of Thrones, but...
Oh, well, I wasn't really referencing that, because Game of Thrones is what gave her access to Terminator, Marvel.
Terminator, Marvel, Star Wars. Yeah, it's rough.
All three just absolute fucking failures. To the point where I don't even know if they'll remember she was in the MCU. Like, I don't know if they will. The creators will remember her.
So just to put it in perspective for people who haven't watched Secret Invasion, like Theory probably, her character's literally the most powerful person in the universe.
Yep.
She has the powers of every superhero and supervillain that exists in the MCU.
And when you probably are thinking of something more reasonable than what it is.
Who are you talking about? Rogue?
No.
We're talking about God, what's her name?
Gaia.
Gaia, the Skrull.
Theory, there is a character that gets given the DNA of everyone who bled on the battlefield in Endgame, which, if you look at the listing, it's basically just everybody from Groot to Thanos to fucking Drax, everyone's DNA. And they put it into her so that she has all of their attributes, including like strength and powers.
What?
Everything. There's basically no power she doesn't have.
She is all the Jedi.
Yes, she is all the heroes.
Well, it's a new character.
I think Gaia exists in the comic books. I don't think she. I don't think she's like this though.
Probably not.
But there's a character that got introduced in Secret Invasion as the daughter of Talos. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is in the prequel to the Marvels, which is very important.
Like I said, I'm really curious if they'll even bring it back, Emilia Clarke's Gaia. Because the thing is now they got to be careful who they're even making shit about.
Have any of you played Helldivers 2 shows? Live service games can be good. I have not seen this.
I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, I haven't.
Theory is a delusional optimist because his channel depends on it. Also, Dave Filoni is an effeminate weasel. That is all.
Effeminate weasel.
Damn.
I still can't get over that picture of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't like it.
It's almost as funny as this guy's delusional comment.
I hate that
my channel depends on my takes on Star Wars, so it could be one way or the other. It doesn't make a difference. Wishing you the best. Thanks, dude. Wishing you the best, too. If instead of Maul returning in Clone Wars, his character was replaced by Savage, would it still be bad?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you guys are different, but Maul should be dead after what happens in Phantom Menace. He should be gone. If you have a brother of Maul that wants revenge and stuff, and you pick up a lot of the storylines that Maul would have had, I think that can work.
I think that I agree with that statement. It wouldn't have been as bad. Like, to me, one of the problems with Savage is how quickly he gets turned into this, super force user, and how quickly he gets trained and everything. I feel like if you had extended that out over like a season or something, where you're getting hints of it and you're showing the progressions, I think that could have been done better. But rather than slammed into a couple episode arc, like I feel like it kind of was.
It was a little bit rushed, but I mean, I think you can get away with that in animation.
Well, the problem is things that we give a pass on in animation, we talked about a little bit earlier, that has ramifications. Guess what? People can give a pass to what happened with Darth Maul because of it's in animation, but then that gets used as an excuse as to why all these other Force users didn't die of a lightsaber wound to the gut in live action.
I'll argue that's only given a pass by people who don't understand Star Wars. Joby Harold or whoever else were writing these ridiculous scenarios. I doubt George would have gone in there and written Reva as surviving a freaking lightsaber wound when she was a youngling from Anakin. Hell no. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Maybe he just happened to hit her in the same spot again, and that's why she survived. It was already like dead cells.
Avoided the major arteries. She'll probably live.
Yeah, maybe. Most likely. Yeah, right in the heart or the lungs or whatever. Ahsoka would have been better animated. Ashley Eckstein, Luke, Leia, Han, Conversations Plus, no deep fakes. Ahsoka, Vader should have discussed redemption. Well, I mean, Ahsoka and Luke, I think we'd all been waiting for that.
Well, we like...
Carry on waiting.
The problem is, they missed their opportunity.
Yeah, it would be. They could do it now.
Stupid.
They could have that conversation, but we're all going to be saying like, it's fucking weird that we've heard all this information now. They would have talked this out ages ago.
Yeah.
Or they don't, which is more likely.
I know. Well, maybe they'll show the... fuck, who knows, man. All things said, even the characters they create have potential and still end up being screwed up with indecisive writing and retcons. That's unfortunate.
I'm inclined to agree with that, yeah. Like Finn, right? They created him, and everyone was like, "Oh," and then they went, and you're like, "Oh."
Nobody can match Ahsoka besides Luke. The Sith Lords died. Thrawn isn't that big of a threat without a Force user. Yeah, he needs one.
Thrawn.
The problem is he should be a threat without a Force user.
There's that, but then there's also they will make. Say, for example, she's in a room with Thrawn, and she could easily stop him with the Force. She just won't be able to if Dave wants that way. There'll be something that gets in the way. You'll do a thing. He'll run away. He'll fucking what's her name? Morgan Elsbeth, but a fart ghost. She'll appear and she'll have to fight her. It'll just always be something until Dave is like, "Yeah, Thrawn's boring. We can get rid of him now." Didn't he say that? There was a quote where he said like, "Play with Thrawn for a few years."
Yes.
Oh gosh, I hate that.
They're literally treated as fucking keys you jangle in front of a baby. Like that's how he sees it. That's how he sees it. Like it's pretty clear from that.
Because he has to die, I guess.
Dude, no.
What the fuck? What are you saying about Thrawn? No other fucking character you say that about.
Well, because of the sequels. What are they going to do? Put him in
Filoni
Phrygia?
literally said that that Ahsoka is not dead in Rise of Skywalker. He came out and said
Ahsoka's
that
already
after the
fucked all of
movie.
that concept up.
Oh, I thought he
should
said, I don't know.
Remember, like immediately in the aftermath of Rise of Skywalker, when you hear Ashley Eckstein's voice with all the dead Jedi,
Yeah.
Dave Filoni put out a picture of Ahsoka and Gandalf, and it was like he literally drew a picture of Ahsoka and Gandalf with her fucking Gandalf robe, and Gandalf is like saying, some people thought I was dead too. You don't remember that? Dave Filoni doesn't tweet very much. I'll pull it up. That was in December of 2019, after the premiere of Rise of Skywalker, and people heard her voice. They're like, wow, that means Ahsoka's dead now.
Oh.
Gandalf
Well, yeah, he
is
was
so
probably
good.
pissed that JJ would go ahead and do that. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm the only one who's not allowed to kill her.
Pretty much.
The thing is, as continuity goes, the fact that she heard Ahsoka's voice, they can just always change that into, yeah, she heard it because she's part of the Force. Doesn't have to be dead.
Yeah. Maybe she's walking in the world between worlds and she sees Rey and she's
Yeah.
like, use the Force.
That's
Maybe
what I mean.
she's on Peridia.
Compare that to bringing back, Darth Maul or the Emperor or whoever else. Like, that's the tiniest of continuity, like, confusions that they would absolutely do.
You can do it.
Here's the tweet. I found it. Was thinking of all of you this fine morning. Happy holidays on Christmas. It's Gandalf and Ahsoka. People thought I was dead too. Look how that turned out. ... Again, right after the release of Rise of
It's
Skywalker.
genuinely, like, this shit, this is the stuff I always advocate completely against when it comes to writing. It's like, oh, I love that Lord of the Rings stuff where he, like, dies and then he comes back and he's white. Let's do that. And then they just do that. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you know why it's meaningful in Lord of the Rings? And you'd be like, yeah, because you like him and now he's back and you like him.
Yeah, they had nothing to do but sigh about this.
So sad.
Happy holidays from Dave.
Well, it's just don't kill them.
He signed his tweet.
As simple as that. Don't
No,
kill
but
them.
then he can't do Ahsoka the White.
You have to kill her.
He could just
Fake
have
killer.
him power up.
She can just find a white cloak.
Isn't that Dragon Ball Z?
Literally.
I don't know anything about it.
You should. I think you'd like it.
Isn't there like 1,000 episodes to catch up
Yep.
on?
Yep. Nobody can match Ahsoka besides Luke. The Sith Lords died. Thrawn isn't. Oh, oops. My mistake. Dave's a catch-22. When he nails things, he feels the most like George Star Wars, in my opinion. When Dave misses, he misses big. It pisses me off. Just have to say, love you guys, and I agree with you, Theory, on how Barris should have made an appearance in this. Maybe she'll be in season 2, bro. Maybe. Baby.
Like, looking past like how I don't like what they did with her. Obviously, Barris and Ahsoka interacted a decent amount in Clone Wars. To the point where if there's anybody here anybody left in the galaxy that would have like a tie or something to Ahsoka, Barris would be one of those people. But I just hate that they turned her into fucking terrorists. Like, what the fuck?
Want to see Eva Green play Satele Shan in the Old Republic. I know they showed her in cinematics, but I'd still like to see her live action. She went toe-to-toe with Malgus.
Multiple times.
Does MauLer know that Maul's race is the male for the Night Sisters?
I know the species with the guys with the horns on their head, right?
That did get retconned into like Zabraks are just male. Didn't used to be that way, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, that kind of information is just like, okay.
Wait, this is the new canon?
No, that was a big TCW retcon. Like all Night Sisters and shit got completely changed for that.
Yo, Theory, MauLer, and Ryan, I had to pull up. I think I told you guys before I'm starting my commercial pilot training in April. I'm also the guy who asks about perfect sandwiches. What's poppin'? What's going on, Jared?
Hey.
Hope you do well with the training, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Godspeed. Fly good planes.
Perfect sandwiches.
Thoughts on the idea of Mace coming back? Absolutely hate it. Him dying by Vader and Palpatine was crucial because it signifies the Jedi Order's fall. Just wait for my story, bro, and then you can decide.
Obviously, Freddie Prinze Jr. wouldn't like it because that would mean that his math would be off. 2 + 2 equals
whatever.
balance.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that you really, there's a lot of potential to make it work, that I think if you do a really good job, people will absolutely forgive the fact that like you let him survive that scenario. But with what we understand about the power of a Jedi, like it's not further outside of reason than a hell of a lot of the things that happen in Star Wars that he survives that.
Yeah, like we've seen people get their hands cut off and not be completely debilitated by it, right? We've seen people fall off of buildings or whatever in Coruscant and be able to survive, like by latching
And we've
themselves
seen people
onto
get
another car,
electrocuted.
whatever. We've seen people get electrocuted. Yeah, so Like there's justification for him surviving, certainly. Although I do think I think the intention was for him to be dead. Because then you have then you got to figure out, okay, if he survives, what the fuck is he up to?
Yeah, there's a lot of
and how do you
questions
get him out of the story? How do you? Because then what you have to do to get him out of the story is to kill him. So, that's the question.
George would change his intentions here and there, though, across the course of Star Wars. It's not like it's
100%
crazy.
Dooku versus Mace, who wins? I would have to say light side, Dooku, if he's in the light side. Maul versus Dooku. Sadly, well, you know what? Maul did beat Dooku, and Dooku beat Maul, so it's kind of tough to say, but I think Dooku would win.
Yeah, I think
just limited references for me to be able to decide something like this. It's just fun nerd thoughts, though, isn't it?
TCW shit is so.
Do you think Dooku beats Mace?
Well, going from movies alone, I always thought that the implication was that Mace was the best with a lightsaber and Yoda was the best with the Force for the Council.
If he's in the light side, so he can't use Vapod.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually think that'd be a fucking great matchup. If we're talking about Attack of the Clones era,
yeah,
I'd say
Dooku would fuck him up.
Oh, it's tough. So for MauLer that maybe doesn't understand what Vapod is, specifically, it's a form of lightsaber combat that is, use Form 7 lightsaber combat, but a specific form of it, which is called a variation called Vapod, which you're able to use. If you're facing someone who's a dark side user, you're able to channel their energy basically into your fighting style. And you're able to almost feed off of that. And it's super aggressive and it's very dangerous because it can easily lead to you using the dark side and shit like that. But that is one of the reasons why Mace was able to, obviously stick with Palpatine for that long. And of course, Palpatine also knew what he was doing by letting Anakin get there as well to try to manipulate that entire scenario. Definitely. So it's kind of a tough thing to say, well, we saw him take down Palpatine because Palpatine was also using that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's toying with it.
Which is why the novelization's so fucking awesome.
Why doesn't the great Pharaoh Ryan buy Disney? Surely the great Pharaoh bathes in gold.
I don't have that much money.
Once they reduce the core value of Star Wars down to £1.99, I think everyone will decide to try and buy it up. Give them time.
Fans keep asking for Mace is going to regret it.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what we said for years over on EFAB about Thrawn, and all the people in our fan base who are desperately waiting for him are incredibly disappointed now. So, yeah, I would guess that the same for Disney Mace. That's probably what's going to happen.
I love the Grift. I want more, but I know I shouldn't. If it were sandpaper, I'd want a lower grit.
What the fuck?
I'm not the Jedi I should be. I want more. And I know I shouldn't.
Yeah, it's Gregory right there. What's up, unfunny German? Ist Vader weak-minded or schizophrenic? I would say neither. He's probably just
we call it conflicted.
Yeah. Slave to his emotions.
And maybe a little confused.
Yeah. I would love to see Darth Trey live action, but I don't want Disney to ruin the Old Republic too.
Stay away from all that shit, please. That's my standard. It's just fucking stop. Don't give me a Revan trilogy. Don't let them fuck him up. Come on, stay away from it. Move forward. Do your own shit.
Yeah, MauLer, don't you dare release anything lower than 40 minutes.
I do scare people when I make something that's lower than 6 hours.
How long do those take?
Half a year. Sometimes a year, yeah.
What?
If you've never seen them, you'll understand if you watch them. It's all custom edited. Every 3 seconds is a new visual from whatever I'm talking about. So it's all sources.
So what if you had let's say a team of 20 people and they could pump these out every week? Would you do it?
I mean, I want to get to a point where I have a team who can, but I'm not quite there yet. getting somewhere. Like the MauLer output, so the second channel is higher than ever right now. Like it's almost a video at least every 2 days. So if that gets steady and consistent, then maybe I can start transferring it over to the main channel as well.
Probably good. Yeah.
If you add up all the videos I make in a year, it adds up to the amount of time like one MauLer video is.
Where I get to explain in an hour why a flickering light shouldn't be flickering.
Oh yeah. Force Awakens Part 1. The Part 1 or Part 2? Did you even get to that?
I think I was gonna say that's Part 1. I get into the first scene or two in Part 1. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have headcanons? For example, I don't consider NJO Vong Legends or Disney sequels canon, but if they ever change Plagueis, they die. Well, that's what I'm worried about, Ryan. I'm worried about the Acolyte changing Plagueis or doing so because it's 50 years before the Phantom Menace. He's fucking there.
Was that what this
Headcanon
person is asking? Because like I don't consider the sequels canon, and even if I said I can't try to. That's just something that I never think about the sequels. And go, oh yeah, that happened. I'm like no,
God no.
I don't do headcanon or whatever. If we're talking about like theories or whatever, that's fine. But in terms of excluding this or that, canon is canon. Canon is what Disney owns it, right? Now, whether I like it, that's basically what I say. Like just because, so you didn't like one big series in the EU called The New Jedi Order, right? That's fine. I mean, there's books I don't like, but it's all part of the overall story. So to me, people saying I don't consider it canon is just their way of saying they don't fucking like it.
I agree with that. Because I would have a metric for what I consider official canon, and that's defined basically by rights ownership and stuff. Yeah, I get that, but
I can disagree with it, and I can hate what they're doing with it. But
what I'm getting at is like when I think of Luke Skywalker as a character, I just like TLJ is not what he did. That's not some stuff that he did. So it's just like nah, But if they said, well, so you're defying the canon as legally speaking, I'd be like, no, I get that. That's how that works. I know.
Yeah. So that for me, when people say headcanon, it's just shit that they say they like and don't like. So
yeah,
pretty much.
George Lucas actually mentioned that he probably did survive in one of his. He said it as like a joke because Sam was like, "Hey, Jedi can fall from high distances, so I live, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine with you surviving." He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he was just like saying it lighthearted, and kind of the same way. George, kind of the same way they invented Obi-Wan's home planet. Like
Stu John
in an interview with Jon Stewart when he said, "Oh yeah, he's from the planet Stu John."
Yeah,
it's like, well, fuck. There's Wikipedia entry now.
Cool. Yeah. MauLer's brain broke when Star Wars Theory suggests releasing one of his videos once a week. I'm dying. More vids, long man. Also watch OP.
I wouldn't be done with the first draft of a script in a week. I'd be like, I need more time.
He's got too many streams.
When will we see the return of Jedediah and the sheriff again? Is he still on the run? Did the sheriff cat? I don't know where he's at right now, man. He might make a return someday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Theory on Gardic phone when? What's that?
That is an amazing game where you have to write a prompt. So, for example, I write down, the man went to the shop to buy some cheese, and then you provided that prompt. We all, in a big circle, get provided everyone's turnover. So I have to draw an image that best represents your prompt, and then the next person has to guess the prompt from the image I drew, and then we compare to see how everything turned out. And the pictures and the prompts get sillier and sillier. And stupid.
So it's just like Pictionary, kind of.
It's honestly like telephone plus Pictionary. It's like it was a really cool idea, and yeah, we need to do more streams of them. But yeah, I'd fucking have both of you on that if you want to play it. Sounds like fun.
I'm down.
Can I draw bat cheese?
You can draw penises. How crazy is that? Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, God, definitely. So yeah, nothing's off the table at that point.
Of course, I've seen the Mission Impossible series. It's amazing. They're great.
There's ups and downs.
Yeah, Ryan, I was like, what do I say about this?
Well, overall, I love the Mission Impossible franchise. I think that 1 and 2 are like the two most different movies you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And then 3, they really, even though it's a J.J. Abrams movie, I enjoy 3 a lot, and I think it set the template for what Mission Impossible would be after that. And I think that Ghost Protocol is amazing. I think Rogue Nation's really fucking good. Yeah. Fallout, I really liked as well. Dead Reckoning, I don't hate it as much as MauLer. MauLer fucking hates that one.
I do hate it.
I consider it a step down from the previous 3, but I still think it's good, and I'm really looking forward to 8.
I love Fallout. I think it's fantastic. It's practically transcends the limitation of being a Mission Impossible film almost. Like some of the stuff they do in that is not in any of the other Mission Impossible films. To the point where I was just like, damn, they really fucking pulled out all stops. And then its sequel.
My biggest problem with that is that the reveal of Henry Cavill, like him being an antagonist, was way too early in that movie. For me,
I don't think so, and I quite like they give you all the clues to pick it up well before they reveal it too, in ways that I thought were quite fun, like the phone being cracked and stuff.
Yeah, I just feel like they give you the reveal like 45 minutes in the fucking movie, and it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I don't know.
Long. I like that it gives Henry Cavill time to be a villain instead of pretending to be a hero.
Oh
sort of
shit!
thing.
I didn't watch that one.
Oh,
well, he just there you go.
Well, I mean, I saw them fighting, so I figured he's a villain.
They're actually not fighting each other in that scene.
If you're talking about the bathroom scene, unless he's talking about the the bathroom scene, they're actually
the fucking when he like reloads his fucking biceps, basically.
One of the best moments in action history.
And that was just like an off the cuff thing that they, the behind the scenes from that are awesome. I love Henry Cavill, dude. I love Henry Cavill talking about that was really cool because he wanted to do the parachute sequence, and he was like trying to convince Tom Cruise to let him do it. And Tom Cruise is because Tom Cruise does fucking everything, right? And Tom Cruise is like, we've been training to do this for fucking months and months and months. We've been setting this up forever. If I let you do this, you will fuck it up. Like basically, and Henry Cavill's like, okay, I guess I won't do it. You know,
we do one take where I do it, and then you do it with the other guy.
Yeah.
What did he want to do?
It's a big stunt, dude. You should check it out. Fallout is, I think, the best Mission Impossible film, so you might like it quite a bit.
I swear I just watched it, man.
I like Ghost Protocol.
It wasn't. I think it was Ghost Protocol I watched. With
Ghost Protocol, he has a little bit longer hair.
It's with the train, right?
Well, there's a couple trains in Mission
Impossible. Is it the one
movies.
where he's on his motorcycle, he goes up the cliff and he freaking jumps
Dead
off
Reckoning.
That's Dead Reckoning. That's the one that was just in theaters. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's 7.
It is funny that you say the one with the train, and I was like, shit, that's like 4 of them.
Like all of them.
Yeah, but like very specifically in this one, they try to give you like some reminders and the callbacks to like the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Jeremy Renner in them too. And Ghost Protocols, I think the one where he climbs the freaking thing with the, oh my gosh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
one.
I like that.
I love that whole setup of the different rooms they have people in.
Oh, that's the thing, man.
Which one's the one I haven't seen?
Fallout,
the 6th one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually found like the Burj Khalifa climbing. I found that way more interesting than the bike jump in Dead Reckoning.
Bike jump's just insane, like the scale of it and everything. In terms of complexity, not in.
Yeah.
Is it Rogue Protocol where he hangs on to Rogue Nation where it hangs onto the edge of the plane, and they do that like 8 times. They do that shot 8 times. He's hanging on the edge of that thing as it takes off. My gosh.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise is a fucking madman.
He's cool. Want to get into reading Star Wars books? What would you guys recommend? Didn't we read this?
We read we may have read that one, yeah. We answered earlier though.
New Star Wars TV series and films should be non-Jedi and Sith focused. Let's see more. Just bounty hunting stuff or Star Wars Rancher series. Tulsa King, yeah, the best. Mr. In-Between, like opinions, new characters.
Well, to go back to something Theory said a few of these streams ago, if it's great, we'll literally take any of this. Mm-hmm. Anything. If it's great. But if it's shit, making it about a Star Wars ranch is not going to save anything. Like,
no.
I think that you mean Star Wars Rancher or do you mean Star Wars Reacher series?
Oh, I thought they meant like a guy on a ranch.
Like I just like that connected in my head now. It's like, what would a Star Wars ranch? Like,
I mean,
just
fucking get back in there and tell me what the moisture is.
Dude, Thompson's farm, but set in Star Wars.
Yeah, literally.
Instead of sheep, it's like, whatever animal.
I agree in the sense that, listen, I think The Mandalorian would have been a much better fucking series if Baby Yoda had never been in it.
Agreed.
100. It would have been. I think that had the potential to be really fucking cool. An actual bounty hunter doing bounty hunter things, not babysitting this little fuck. And And then that ends up having to tie him into all these other super important things. Should have just been a cool ass bounty hunter, discovering more about himself and his fucking culture and working his way up the food chain and eventually like maybe uncovering some like black market shit or whatever was going on that has some bigger galactic scale. But for the most part, keep it just a dude doing bounty hunter shit.
Fuck yeah, baby. Would have been great.
I like the Baby Yoda stuff. I just think that it limits him a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think
You know,
what I was expecting from The Mandalorian as a series was what we got in the first, 40 minutes of episode 1.
Yeah, and what we got in episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. Remember that? Where he turns up to like a bunch of people, kills them all, and gets the bounty, goes to like the place. There's an interesting
The first
world.
the first 10 minutes of that where he's like using the Darksaber and like cuts himself, and then you find out he's actually talking to his buddies and he's got to get trained in the Darksaber, all that bullshit.
That was such a fucking wild experience, being like, next episode of Book of Boba Fett, and it's like, here's an almost ideal episode of Mandalorian. It's like, what the fuck's going on? So weird. But yeah, I would have way preferred a whole season of that. And, just build up some regulars, people he gets upgrades from, that he revisits, that aren't... Sorry, but I don't really like the mechanic lady. I find her kind of great at this point.
She's Peli Mata or whatever. She's fucking awful, dude.
I didn't want to say it, but, Ryan said it.
Oh, come on. Like, no one can like her, right?
I have a feeling a lot of people in chat would be like, why you hate her too, Ryan?
Misogyny.
I can't... Every time we get a freaking Tatooine episode, right? And her fucking hair shows up, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
I need your help. I'm reading new Jedi Order books worth reading? I think there's 36 books.
Yeah, there's not 36, but there's the specific new Jedi Order series. I believe there's 19 books, maybe 17 books, and a couple like novellas in there. To me, it's worth it. To me, it feels like a point where Star Wars got a little bit more mature in terms of, hey, it's not going to be a Saturday morning cartoon and the kids get kidnapped and everything is happy in the end. There's actually some real ramifications in Jedi Order, and it sets a new template. So I think it's worth reading. If you're not a reader, I don't know. I think you should read them all, though.
I don't think Maul's returning or Windu. The chemistry of this pod is almost real BBC levels. Well done, boys.
Ooh.
Guess we have MauLer to thank for that.
I was about to say, I'm one of the hosts of that, so it feels weird to say. I guess the comparison would be you two are like Az and Gary, who are very long-time friends. So that's it's a compliment.
What's good, fellas? What's worse, The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker?
My heart says TLJ, but my mind says Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, I think TLJ was shot better, more cinematic, but fuck TLJ.
Rise of Skywalker is a worse movie. Probably one of the worst movies, as like a movie that much money went into, and that big of a scale. Probably one of the worst movies that we've ever seen. But The Last Jedi does infinitely more damage to Star Wars, and is the reason, in large part, why Rise of Skywalker was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to go super pretentious. I think my heart says TLJ, mine says Rise of Skywalker, and my spirit says TFA, because the spirit of Star Wars was annihilated with that film.
Thank you, my brother. I agree. It looked good, though, MauLer.
TFA probably has the most things I could praise about any of the three films. The Rey's introduction is not bad. Introduction.
Masters of Air is Masters of Air, I think, is a fighter pilot show or something. I've heard good things about it, but I don't really know.
Your Star Wars Theory just wanted to say, I've been watching your channel for many years, and it's always been entertaining. Keep up the awesome work. Thanks, bro. Thanks, Orskis VR. Yeah. See you tomorrow for the watch party. Hey, spam one if y'all are going to be here for the watch party tomorrow. We're going to probably start around 10 or 11 p.m. Pacific time. So it's going to be 1 or 2 a.m. Eastern.
And that is official homework, right? It's got to be.
Filoni quit Resistance after the first... Well, you just got to watch it for the week.
No, I'm saying I'm not saying it's a funny thing. That'll be show homework for sure.
Yes. Filoni quit Resistance after the first episode. No.
Produced the entire series, so I don't know what you mean.
I feel like he's connected. Yeah. I wonder what the influence is. Has he ever talked about it in like interviews? Does anyone know anything about this show?
I've seen clips of him talking about Resistance, but I'm not too keyed in on it. So
Is it over?
Yeah, it was over years ago. It was like, when did that air? Probably like 2017-ish. I don't even remember.
Yeah, like he's got creator credits.
Yeah, he was the creator of the series.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
how
was
he'd
pretty
leave
cool.
after the first episode. I don't know what that means, but
He's got 38 writing credits.
Now he was not as involved in terms of like the day-to-day creative level stuff like he was on something like TCW as much like in Resistance. I'll willingly admit that, but the idea that he just his name is just on it, but he didn't do anything. It's like, okay,
he's got created by and developed by on like almost every episode. Surely, yeah, like he's connected to it more so than fucking people who don't have any credits attached to it. But I mean, whatever. Like people said, this is the sticking point for me is that a lot of people seem to agree that Rebels sucks, and that's something he had huge influence in.
Listen, to do some Rebels defense, there's a small but passionate group of people that really loved Rebels. Now I think a lot of the reason that people are attached to Rebels isn't necessarily because of the characters that are created for Rebels, but a lot of it has to do with the tie-ins to TCW and the connection to Ahsoka, the connection to Maul, the fight at the end of season 2 between Ahsoka and Vader, which we talked about, getting to see some of the clones, again. But I don't particularly care for Rebels, but there are some people that really did enjoy it. But it's a small group of people. It's something that aired on Disney XD, so it didn't get a ton of eyes on it when it, first came out.
Mm-hmm.
See, all you fucking Rebels fans in chat that think I fucking hate everything. I just did some defense for your show.
Aw.
What a good guy.
Yeah.
Hello, MauLer. Where was you when the Rings of Power trailer dropped? I was at home. I remember my reaction. I opened my YouTube trailer. I opened my YouTube, saw the trailer. No.
I think it was Gary that was like pinging me immediately. It's like it's out, trailer's out. And I was like, oh fuck, here we go.
It dropped during the Super Bowl. So
I think we're all taking our eyes off the ball here. There's a feral Chewie.
Fetal.
Fuck, dude. I'm getting tired. God running willy-nilly, taking over streams. We must be vigilant. Never give up. Never surrender.
Yeah, I gotta keep an eye on that.
Galaxy Quest, baby. What's a Chulu? It's like a
Cthulhu is
Cthulhu.
I think he misspelled it. Yeah.
Whatever. It's like a god, right?
Yeah, Lovecraft.
Yeah, big, massive being.
Brian, what's your thoughts on the Yoda arc in season 6? I think it's one of the best things they've done in any show.
Well, I love how it's like meaningless apparently because Qui-Gon can now appear in like corporeal form, despite what he told Yoda in season 6. I hate some of the stuff I hated about it was the Bane shit and how it's like, again, you're taking shit that exists that somebody else made and you're like changing it, but you're using that name, like what they did with Bane in season 6. So I'm torn because I like some of it, and there's other things that just drive me up a fucking wall. Season 6 that's the one that was the shortened one that got released afterwards, right? After the purchase. So it was like only 10 episodes or something, maybe 13, if I'm remembering right, before we got season 7, obviously, years later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Yoda goes through one of the only cool arcs I guess we get to see from Yoda. Like in terms of his growth and his understanding of the Force and shit. It's kind of cool.
No, he has not. The 1978 to 1988 Marvel Comics are my favorite books. Sing for me, The Saga Begins. Not for $2.
Damn.
So there is a price.
What's the price?
You would probably set that. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is. What does he want us to sing? The Saga Begins? What is that?
That's the Weird Al Yankovic American Pie parody.
Cool.
You don't remember that one?
No.
I ain't gonna sing it for $2 either. So
All right.
I'm sure you.
It's not even $2. It's like by the time we all take our cuts and then YouTube takes their cut, it's like probably fucking 20 cents.
It's the principle of the thing, damn it.
Yeah, fuck that. There's a good doc on Vice TV, Icons on Earth, Star Wars Episode 1 to 6 with interviews with Marsha Lucas, about 5 hours long. Oh, wow. Really? I'd love to see that.
Cool.
Yeah. Interested to see MauLer react to Pong Krell. Yeah, dude, me too. Well, we got to get through the 2D first, and then after that, we'll
people,
go
yeah, that is a lot of what a lot of people will go to. It's one of the best arcs in TCW, is that arc, specifically because of clones. So I'll be interested to see how MauLer reacts to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the stream, Slice and Dice Brothers. All right.
Slice and Dice.
Toxicity. Would you guys like Lucasfilm to dive into the Old Republic age or into the origin of the Jedi and Sith? Old Republic.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get an origin story with James Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi.
How do you think that's gonna go?
I think that it's again. There's literally a fucking book and a comic series called Dawn of the fucking Jedi that takes place in the same time frame they're doing it. They're literally like not even trying. Same with Filoni Tales of the Jedi shit. You can't even name your thing something else. You can't even change the logo to show what you're ripping off. But I think it's going to be rough. It was not one of my favorite books. It's kind of a tough read, Dawn of the Jedi.
Well, you guys covered Dune Part 2 when it comes out. It's not Star Wars, but it could be more interesting to talk about than Rebel Moon.
I
imagine it would be.
Wait for Dune Part 2. I have early tickets. I'm seeing it Sunday in IMAX. I can't wait. I hope it's great. I really like the first one.
I don't really get hung up on the EU stuff. I mean, didn't George change up Bane in Clone Wars? He never thought of EU as full canon, so I didn't either.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Clone Wars is why Star Wars is so awful and why people like Theory are so complacent about the new stuff they're getting. Oh, is that the reason why? Okay. Obi-Wan, today was always bad. Yeah, Clone Wars is fucking awesome, dude, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that some of the changes that they were willing to make and people try to explain away in TCW did like cause damage, and I think it paved the way for some of the changes and retcons we see now to be hand waved away. And I think it has in part led to what we're getting from Disney Star Wars, like that practice, you know.
I mean, when I watch it, I'll give my perspective on that. But yeah, I mean, I've heard all kinds of things about Clone Wars.
Well, like I come at it from obviously a vast minority perspective in terms of the amount of people that watched the Clone Wars. If you take, this is all Star Wars fans. People have watched movies. If you watch one movie, you're a Star Wars fan, whatever. The amount of people that watch the animated shit is like this big.
Yeah.
The amount of people that read all the EU shit is like this big.
Like fucking nothing.
Right? So there are different levels and different scales. So I understand that like my perspective is not one of the majority. There's not going to be people that care about as much shit as I do. If they never experienced that. MauLer's going to go into this with a very interesting perspective because he doesn't give a shit about any of that stuff I give a shit about. And he's never seen any of this stuff. He's experienced this stuff. So
well,
which now what it is.
They've gone and they've made this stuff even more diluted and just like, you know, basically, oh yeah, baby Yoda, he's cute. That's the new fandom.
Neurotic, by the way, he was super ill to the point where he was like off camera on Real BBC.
Oh, jeez. Right.
We've had a lot of con crud going around everybody.
Yeah, he's okay. He's just, you know, coughing a lot and sneezing a lot and stuff. So it's just,
yeah.
But you know,
Coughing and sneezing.
we'll have him on eventually.
Sure.
You can talk about Bad Batch. He likes that, right?
Yeah, it's his favorite show.
Was
What's
he
up, Top
wheezing
Shelf
at all?
Nerds? Needs
Little
to
bit.
change from politics, plot to plot politics. Need to change a lot of things. Top Shelf Nerds is the amazing marketing guy behind my sabers. He's doing all the photos and everything, so he's hard.
Nice.
We're making some really cool stuff for the website coming in probably 3 weeks now, I think. What's up, dude? What's going, Vroom?
What up,
If
Vroom?
in Kenobi, I'd rather old Jar Jar than young Leia.
Me too.
Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Part 1, Joe Rama. As flawed a show as Bad Batch is, I thought The Outpost was a pretty good episode. The writing was decent, and Mayday's story was actually emotionally resonant, in my opinion. Shocking for Lucasfilm. Part 2. And thank you for that. I might just be biased because I love clone-centric stories. Would love MauLer's thoughts if he ever watches it. If I remember correctly, it works as a standalone.
I will have to watch Bad Batch so I can keep up with these guys fawning over it. I'll be like, all right, wait a sec. Bad Batch season 3 isn't a miracle that you guys think it is. But yeah, I mean, you know, the more I spend time here, the more everyone's very obsessively looking for me to see the Clone Wars specifically. So it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, you can make a little review. MauLer, because of your continuous high praise, I am starting Buffy soon. Isn't there a certain order I should watch it and Angel, or go by release dates?
Yeah, if you just Google watch
Buffy's awesome.
order Buffy, I think it's the first result. It's a blogspot website, josswhedon.blogspot.com, and it's someone who put together a listing that's pretty good. I think there's only 1 or 2 changes I would have made on it myself, but as it stands, it works really well. It lists Buffy and Angel next to each other, so it lets you know when to switch over, and it covers all of like the spoiler-free way of telling you when to switch so that you get the continuity, and it's really fun. As for if you started brand new, fair warning, Buffy has a rocky start. Seasons 1 and 2, there's plenty in there that'll put you right off, but that by the time you hit, I know this sounds insane, but there's an episode in season 5 that's considered like one of the greatest things that's ever happened to TV. So if you feel like giving up, I would say if you can get into season 3 and you still feel like it's just shit, then you probably should give up, because season 3 is pretty good. But it might not be for you, you know.
The answer is just work out and eat food. How would you start getting into Legends, and how would you progress? I only know the cliff notes. Want to know more. Thanks for answering my questions.
So I would start again with the Thrawn trilogy, Heir of the Empire, Dark Force Rising, The Last Command. The original Thrawn trilogy, not the new bullshit they put out after Disney bought it, just for the record. The ones that released in 91, 92, 93. If you enjoy that and like it, I would actually go back to the Rogue Squadron novels that I talked about, and I would just start reading that in chronological order. If that's the shit you're interested in, post Return of the Jedi, which most people are, you know, what happened to the galaxy after the OT, that's what I would do. And I would move on from Rogue Squadron to, well, Wraith Squadron might be mixed in there a little bit, but then the Jedi Academy trilogy, which is important, a little bit rough to get through. A lot of people like it, but rough to get through. For me, important. And then I would just continue to move on past that and get into, New Jedi Order and on.
One more Grievous under Dooku's tutelage. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
The Bounty Hunter game on PS2 is what got me into the Mandalorian culture in the EU. It was so cool that it came with a comic book in the game menu.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which ironically is a comic book that they essentially ripped off Jango Fett's origin story for fucking Din Djarin. By the way, that's what they did.
Shame.
God.
You know, Din Djarin's history with droids, you wouldn't even know that was a thing by the time we hit season 3.
How so? Do you mean
in terms of his parents getting killed and him being adopted by the Mandalorians, after that shit fucking happened, after the war came through. Yeah. Jango Fett, God, what's it called? Forget the name of that.
I know
comic.
it was one of the best ones too. Jango Fett.
what's the Jango Fett comic book called? I'm pissed that I don't fucking remember it. Open Seasons. Open Seasons.
That's the one.
Yeah, seriously, that whole backstory for Din Djarin, where the fuck is it gone? We haven't like worked with that for ages or benefited from knowing it.
He got over it.
He got over it, yeah. And there was nothing else, I guess, they had to tell us about his history either. It's done. That was it. There was nothing interesting that happened in his like earlier years.
He's cool with it now.
We need to meet Jack Black and Lizzo. That's what we need to spend our time doing.
That'd be cool if they made a backstory on Jango, like they made a show on it or something like that with Tor.
Imagine they made a backstory for Din Djarin. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Star Wars game made like Helldivers 2 would be perfection. Would love to see y'all do a Helldivers 2 stream.
We should do a gaming stream sometime.
You've not showed Star Wars Theory the Drax arm? What's this?
All right, answer another one. By the time you do, I'll have set it up for you.
Okay. You guys should watch the video Rags is Pathetic, where he makes fun of Theory for crying.
Rags is controversial and has lots of opinions that if you want to fight him on it, he'll happily do it with you. But
just don't care. Say what you want. Good day, fellas. Question for you all. Since Asajj died in the book, do you guys think she will die in Bad Batch?
My gut feeling is that it's a complete retcon.
You think
and that's my gut feeling on it, is that they're not really going to follow it. Like they've said they're going to follow it, and they're just going to show like why she didn't actually die or something.
Fuck. Yeah, but then...
That's my gut, but I don't know.
You know what? It would be cool to see her in, whatchamacallit, Ahsoka 2.
Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, I'm cool with dead people staying dead.
Is the rule of 3, but I think MauLer will end up with it. Should we change the name of this from Stargrift to Rule of 3?
I think we should change the name at some point. I don't know about Rule of 3, but...
All right, let's change the name. What are we changing it to?
What happened? Do we not like Stargrift anymore?
I don't know.
Well,
hey, I'm open to suggestions.
I feel like Stargrift implies we're not actually being serious about what we're saying.
I thought that was the point, was that it plays off
that was
the idea of, because we obviously are, but you know.
Yeah, I know.
I think Rule of 3 is kind of dope. What about? I don't know. Chat, help us out. What do you think?
Well, I mean, first question, chat. What do you think of Stargrift? Have we turned on it?
Yeah, if you like it, then you like it.
I thought it was working, but I mean, if people don't, that's fair enough.
Oh well, seems like some of them like it.
Luke Soka thinks it's fine.
Oh, did you?
Damn it, I grew up with Stargrift.
See, what Gregory's like, he actually tried to put in a trademark for it, so that's why he's upset.
I want royalties, motherfuckers.
Everybody likes Stargrift, I guess.
Oh, cool, nice. That's a good one.
Lizzo's 3 boyfriends. Yeah.
All right, maybe we'll keep it the same for a bit. I don't know. Whatever. Kind of wish Kathy Lucas was given all the opportunities Filoni is getting. She wrote many arcs for the Clone Wars, and I think she's very talented. She was bullied a lot online, though, and just left Lucasfilm. Why? I don't know about this.
He means Katie Lucas, not Kathy.
Okay.
And it's funny. There's a sequence I've watched a lot when they're actually describing like bringing Maul back and his legs and everything. And Dave's like going on about, well, we just thought it'd be really cool if we did this and if we had it look like that. And she like stops. She's like, well, I mean, I hate to interrupt you, but we actually took all of this from the expanded universe. And Dave's like, well, yeah, I guess we did. That was one of my favorite Katie Lucas clips ever.
Theory, if you could choose between George Lucas working on episode 2 or having the power to fire everyone bad at Lucasfilm, what'd you choose? Fire everyone bad at Lucasfilm. I got episode 2 handled, man. It's going to be great. But yeah, fire everyone bad at Lucasfilm.
What if you also got to live with George Lucas for a year?
Okay.
But you had to clean up after him.
Okay.
Like, it'd be messy. But
I don't really like living with people. Unless it's like significant other, then okay, but I don't know. Have to be a big house.
Okay.
I don't know.
For the record, George, you could stay with me. I'm fine. I'll clean up after your ass.
Fuck.
Right. You ready? I got the thing. The and I'm going to give you a little context, right? Like we told you, she has everyone's powers in the MCU. But the weird thing is, when you're like, she's got, I don't know, Captain Marvel's powers, like, fine, so she can fly and shoot lasers, fine. It's like, okay, yeah, but what about Drax? Drax was on the list. Like, what powers does she have from Drax? Like, is she just generally strong? And they go a little further than that. She can have his arm at will.
And also disintegrate her clothes for it for some reason.
What is this?
That's actually what my arm looks like after watching Madam Web in theaters.
What is this, dude?
This is
When
because
did
she
this
has
come out?
Drax's DNA. This is recent, like what, half a year ago, or so, right, Ryan? Something like that.
Yeah, summer of last year, so a little 8 months ago. Secret
what's so
Invasion.
This is
This-
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, this got made fun of to hell and back. It was
So she's got everyone's DNA.
yeah, and that
including
makes
the
it
Hulk.
so that she can. Yeah, she has a Hulk arm at some points.
No, she doesn't. You're kidding. What is this?
She has ice giant powers as well.
She has everything.
She has every
honestly-
superpower, and from each hero and villain in the MCU, effectively, she has.
The craziest thing is do you remember Ebony Maw theory from Infinity War? The guy he had telekinesis. He's like a little alien looking guy.
He was the guy who fucks up Strange.
He's Iron Man called him Squidward.
Yeah. He's a guy who fucking, basically kidnaps Doctor Strange and has all those little pointy things at him when they're in the fucking ship before
I can't remember.
Iron Man and Spider-Man save him.
Well, I guess the funny thing is he wears rings.
Are
right?
you talking about fucking the Maw?
Ebony Maw, yeah.
Oh yeah, he was amazing. He was so cool.
So she has his DNA, and that means that she can spawn his hand and his rings.
And his penis probably too.
Probably, yeah. Throw it in. She can
Yeah, it
spawn
was so
everything.
weird how he died. He was so OP.
He got sucked out a fucking spaceship. That'll do
was it.
anybody in.
Pretty much. You're lucky you're not a fan of the MCU like we are, okay?
I'm a huge. Well, I was actually. I was a very huge fan, but with the Avengers. And once Endgame finished, I was like, I lost interest completely. I didn't.
You don't know who the Avengers are now?
No, there's a new Avengers.
Well, we all imagine. We can only come up with guesses of who we think it is. Being led by Black Captain America, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi.
Black Widow 2.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay, so I watched Shang-Chi. I watched the new Captain America show. I watched there was something else I watched.
You know what's crazy is it's going to be 5 years since we saw Captain America last.
It didn't stick for me.
By the time we see him in his movie.
Dude, it feels like nothing has moved on since Endgame, really. Like,
nothing. There's just boring. Lame.
Oh, they destroyed an enormous empire.
I guess
Your thoughts on
Ant-Man's still an Avenger.
Tales of the Jedi Season 2. I'm very excited for it.
Can't wait for more Ahsoka.
No, we'll get someone else. Maybe Balin and Shin. Would love to see an era of Star Wars that force users have children and become a nobility like ancient China.
Well, Count Dooku was nobility on his home planet of Serrano, which is kind of why he had some of the attitudes he had. It's interesting.
Thanks, dude. Favorite trooper design? It's the Scout Trooper for me. Also, for favorite Legends villain antagonist, Plagueis. I think Jarek is massively underrated as a character.
Yeah, Jarek doesn't get a whole lot of play. I think that Darth Krayt is super fucking interesting because of what we see towards the end of the books when it comes to Fate of the Jedi and him helping out Luke in the battle against Abeloth. But then obviously the one Sith, what we see in the comic books, like his plan that got set into motion. I think he's really fucking intriguing, and the fact that he was alive in like the prequel era as well. Interesting villain.
Should have been in the sequels.
Like to me, Jason Solo, Darth Caedus is my favorite character in Star Wars. So obviously, there's times where he's a hero. There's times where he becomes a villain. So if you're talking about like my favorite antagonist, it would probably have to be him.
Edwards Gilroy. I know MauLer's probably going to say Edwards Gilroy. Probably Ryan too.
If I'm giving anyone a chance at new Star Wars Disney content, it would be Gilroy. Yeah, he's the most reliable from my point of view.
Say Dave and John.
I would
Gotta
say
go with my boys.
fucking you'll find me fucking swinging on a rope somewhere. Yeah, it's gun to my head. Which of these would I choose? I'd pull the trigger. That's the answer. But probably Edward Gilroy.
Ryan looks like Ryan Johnson minus the estrogen.
Thank you, Luke Soka.
What do you guys think of Savage Press and Clone Wars? Do you think it's... Oh, we talked about this. I
love the
think
name.
He's dope. Can you please show MauLer the scene where Hera confronts her father? The best scene in Rebels, and it's a shame how Ahsoka butchered her character. I don't remember the scene.
Yeah, so that's... I believe they're talking about the scene from the same time frame when Thrawn gets introduced. When they're on Ryloth. And obviously, Hera's dad's like a fucking resistance leader on Ryloth, and Thrawn is kind of taken over. Remember, they even got the picture of fucking Hera there, and everything. But I don't know specifically the scene he's talking about or what season it is. But MauLer will watch that after he does an entire watch through of the Clone Wars micro series,
Clone Wars, and
TCW, and he also has to watch the Clone Wars movie. By the way, we can't forget that.
I think what people will be
that
really
one's
happy
That one's
to
pointless.
pointless.
No. Well, if you want to talk about pointless,
such thing.
how about the many fucking random episodes of like R2D2 and C3PO just fucking jerking each other off in TCW? All right,
Yeah, I know.
he's gonna watch all those, so he's got to watch the Clone Wars movie
I know.
too.
I know.
Look, next week, people are going to be really happy to know that out of all of the content I could have seen, I will have seen episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 3 of Bad Batch. They're going to be like, yes, that is what they want to hear my opinion on. So,
Would I rather be a Saiyan or a Jedi? A Saiyan, hands down. I could fly. I can go Super Saiyan. I can like 100% Super Saiyan. 100% Saiyan.
I don't even know what a Saiyan means, but
You're missing out.
I don't really want to be a Jedi. I don't want to do selfless things. Seems fucking boring.
be evil Jedi.
Ryan would be a Sith.
I don't need to go full Sith, but just let me do my own. Just maybe a Force user.
All right. Ryan would get too annoyed by someone and be like, "Ah, fuck you."
I would be snapping necks like a motherfucker. Yeah. Like absolutely.
Just having a bad day. Hey,
I'm just in traffic. Some asshole cuts me off. Like just take their car, like toss it off. Yeah.
just no remorse. Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. Halfway through the Darth Plagueis novel, I think it's my favorite Star Wars novel so far. I'm really nervous about what they do with him in Acolyte. Maybe they won't even mention him, and even that would be stupid if they don't.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is the era they've set it in? He can't not be around.
Yeah.
But they also should not touch it. You know, Yoda's going to be in this, right? He has to be.
Oh fuck!
You didn't think about that, huh?
I didn't think about that, man.
Yoda has to be in this. It's impossible for him not to be.
It's gonna be great.
Fuck, dude. Please don't fuck up Yoda.
He's going to be like, he's just going to be basically telling all these other characters we get introduced that they're really the best. Respect your pronouns, I must. That's the kind of fucking Yoda we're going to get in this one.
You killed him again, Ryan. You're losing your mind.
I'm losing it. Ryan loses his mind. So, I don't know. I
guess I was wrong. There was no danger at all.
Basically what it is.
Once again, you've proved if you'll excuse me.
We're in the clear.
I think we
We're
got it.
good. I like
No one
it.
can clip that now. All right. I wasn't in the frame.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Just whenever Ryan says something controversial, play the "You've done that yourself," and we'll be fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, what a terrible way for Obi-Wan to walk out of Padme, just for the record. A terrible way when Anakin immediately thinks that they're probably fucking. What a terrible way for Obi-Wan to walk out of
Literally
that
just,
ship.
yeah,
Just his
fucking.
hands on his hips like I just clapped her cheeks.
Yeah.
It's just the worst thing he could have possibly done.
Yeah. Literally.
Maybe he did. You don't know.
I mean, that's my headcanon.
It's a long, long plane ride. You think the Game of Thrones writers should get another chance to do a trilogy? Well, the funny thing is, didn't they rush season 8 so that they could start working on Star Wars? Then they got fired.
I don't want them writing anything to do with Game of Thrones ever again. They made the worst Song of Ice and Fire related content in the history of the world. I would rather they stop.
Yo, Nick.
Well, I think that they should. I'm interested to see what they do with Netflix. I think they've got a movie that's coming out finally. Like, I'm interested to see what they do by themselves. Right? We saw them do a good adaptation, a great adaptation in a lot of ways from something they had source material for. They ran out of source material. They fucked it up. Let's see them do something that they're creating, and give it a chance. But they certainly shouldn't just be given a chance to do a Star Wars trilogy because.
Filoni effing up Thrawn is the most insulting and hypocritical thing he could do. He won't let people do anything with Ahsoka with him knowing. The Thrawn is like one guy that you just don't mess up. Right? And they made him kind of just an idiot.
He's a bit of a clown, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think they made a mistake by bringing him into Rebels, because when you bring a character like that in, and his fucking adversaries are the Rebels goon squad, like the Scooby-Doo type of fucking characters.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the complete wrong way to bring him in. That's why I was fucking kicking and screaming when they brought Thrawn in then.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like that's the right way to bring in a character with that type of gravitas in a fucking
right.
Disney XD show written by Filoni,
You're right.
So to me, his character is fairly consistent with what I would expect that they've already done to his character, unfortunately.
You're right. Yeah, it is like a fucking Scooby-Doo. Back when at chat said MauLer was too long, I ran the math, and the runtime of all his videos combined is about the same as MauLer's.
well, I mean,
Who's
if
that?
I make 1 6-hour video per year, it probably does line up with a lot of other channels anyway. 8080 chat, fucking crazy moron who's desperate to defend everything to do with like sequels and despises me. Probably hates you as well. No way, he definitely hates you.
Oh, nice, dude.
He does not like me either.
You
No,
must just hate people because they have a different opinion on movies. That
If
seems
they hate me and
balanced.
Theory, Ryan, there's no chance. It's doors locked on you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm the bottom of the fucking barrel when it comes to that shit.
Nice, dude. A lot of centered individuals out there. Gal Gadot has a Leia recast? As a Leia recast? No.
Kal-El, no.
Luke Skywalker.
Your points about canon is mostly true, but if something is so lore-breaking that nothing else makes sense, then I don't think it's canon.
That's the thing to me. It's always going to be it's different to me. Canon is what the fucking, by the letter of the law, like what they've come and stated. And other than that, it's just however people feel about it. Because what is completely lore breaking to me might be something that's fucking clapped at and celebrated by someone else.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. That's why I get what people mean when they say headcanon. It's just if you like something or not.
Henry was cracking his elbows in the MI scene.
No, he was reloading his fists.
He was reloading. They talk about it behind the scenes. Like, I don't know what he was initially doing, but like after he did that, it looked like he was reloading. They're like, do that again.
It was one of the coolest
Ricky
things ever.
Gervais was almost going to be Benji in Mission Impossible, which is funny because he and Simon Pegg hate each other.
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I feel like I should know that.
Bro, someone in chat said, Cal Kestis, no.
Sean Connery or Daniel Craig. But I also liked Timothy Dalton. I liked Roger Moore. But yeah, Sean Connery's number one, and then Daniel Craig.
If Timothy Dalton's movies came out 15 years later, I think people would have fucking loved him as Bond.
Probably.
I don't think people are ready for the shift between Roger Moore, like slapstick, and and this real serious, dark Timothy Dalton shit.
Timothy Dalton in Hot Fuzz, like playing that villain, there's already enough proofs. Like he would have been a great Bond, like to have longer than we actually got.
Is he still?
And also, sorry,
is he still with us?
Oh yeah. As far as I know,
I think so.
And as for like Daniel Craig, like I love Casino Royale, but can't disassociate the fact that he just hates the role so much. You know what I mean? Like, you watch him and you feel it. But then, you know, my pick is like Pierce Brosnan, so I can't say much. He has some of the goofiest James Bond movies.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Pierce's James Bond.
I
love Brosnan's Bond. He was he was a good balance between, like, again, shifting from Dalton. They got some of the comedy back and a little bit of the funny stuff, but kept it serious enough that it felt like a good production.
GoldenEye to me is the perfect Bond movie. I think they nail it.
GoldenEye's awesome.
The game.
We were talking about this the other day, actually. When was I talking about this? Thunderball's really fucking good.
Great.
Goldfinger as well.
Like the first 5 Connery ones are fucking awesome. Dr. No, Dr. No, Goldfinger, Thunderball. Yeah. Then you get to the Roger Moore era, and it's like flip a coin whether it's one of the best ones or one of the fucking shittiest ones you've seen.
Moonraker was cool.
I think Moonraker's awful. I think it's cool, but I think the movie's terrible.
Cool. I think the idea was, well, yeah, it was terrible, but the idea was cool. They go to the fucking moon. There's like Jaws there.
I prefer I prefer Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me as the parody of Moonraker almost. Yeah,
I know. It's great.
That shit's funny.
I wish I could have liked Daniel Craig's entire run better. I think Casino Royale is fucking amazing. It's one of the best Bond movies we've ever seen. But the problem was they didn't let him move off Vesper. They made that his entire fucking arc. And I know Daniel Craig doesn't portray what we view as what James Bond should look like because of Sean Connery. But in terms of his portrayal, it's a little more in line with the Ian Fleming novels, like in terms of the way he acts and everything. And I just wish that they would have let him move on from Vesper, but instead that became his entire arc. And you just have to cut that out and be like, this isn't in line with Bond, because it's not. It's supposed to be a start, a fresh start, a reboot, and start from the beginning of his origins. But they still have M, who then dies, and they bring in M from who's supposed to portray M from the initial Connery movies. So like, doesn't make any fucking sense. And so it's kind of hard to justify anything in it being real. Which I guess we just talked about headcanon, but
it's supposed to be like the first one, right?
Yeah, Casino Royale is literally his origin, right? You get that's his like first fucking mission. You see how he became a 00 and all that shit. But the problem is, it's M from what we saw who took over for the male M. It's M from Brosnan shit. So none of it makes any sense.
That's a little confusing.
Before Ray Fiennes comes in and becomes the M that we remember from the old Bond movies.
As if that's so not confusing at all, you know?
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah, like trying to explain this to anybody that doesn't like that hasn't watched all 27 James Bond movies or whatever, you're probably confused as fuck.
I guess it's just not even supposed to make any sense. They're like, well, there's a different Bond actor for every movie, so who cares?
Kinda. I mean, the fact that he dies in the last one.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. We'll have to see what they're up to in the next one.
This is the way I say it, like, for the way they've portrayed Daniel Craig's James Bond in this like Daniel Craig James Bond standalone universe, it is kind of, it makes sense for his character to end that way. Yeah. Like, because he's just so fucking hung up on this one bitch that he fucked a couple times. And he could just never get over her, and everything was about her in the end. Which I mean, listen, she's pretty hot. I mean, I get it.
You're talking about Vesper, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Was there like a big callback to that in the last one?
Yeah, like that's kind of like always where his fucking mind is at, and he finally does fall in love with the other chick.
Yeah,
you know,
gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. And they have the fucking kid.
Yeah. And then he kills himself. Well, he sacrifices himself for it.
And also Blofeld, like jamming in Blofeld's entire origin story that they're actually adopted brothers whose then their adopted dad died and like blah, blah, blah. That was so much to try to cram into one fucking movie.
Yeah.
Again, Austin Powers fucking handled that better too. The doctor with brothers.
If Mace survived, I hope he became a pod racer. The second human to do it. The first with one hand. Mace Windu, pod racer. Take my money. What's up, MauLer? I like your Resident Evil review. Good work, mate.
Oh, thank you. It's one of my older ones.
Force Awakens was overhyped at the time. I thought Rogue One was better.
Rogue One is better.
Give us all with Han helping attack the Empire, an obvious enemy of Jabba's underworld dealings, would have given him some debt forgiveness. Now Jabba can do more ill shit.
Give me a Jabba the Hutt Disney Plus series. Just Jabba doing ill shit.
Mm-hmm. Hutt, a Star Wars story.
Hutt, ill shit. Da Vinci painting Mona Lisa, not canon because he sold it. Just saw your IG story with
No,
Gina.
that's not how that works. The canon is over time. So George had canon controlled with license, and then Disney do.
Yep.
Time is linear.
No interview with Gina. We just hung out, went to dinner with Jay, and that was it. Masters of the Air is a World War II series about the men of the Army Corps who piloted B-17 bombers over Germany. Shows all they went through flying at several thousand feet over enemy territory. Masters of Air.
Yeah, it's the one that somebody mentioned earlier. I've heard it's good.
Do you think Old Republic writers and Legends writers should take over? Take over.
That's what I would have loved kind of from the beginning instead of this like story group we ended up with.
I will happily gamble them instead of Filoni Favreau.
Yeah, like kind of the way it used to work was a lot of these writers would brainstorm stuff like that. They'd get together, they'd be at conventions or whatever. They'd meet together for a couple days in a row and try to plan out their next book series. And there was a lot of planning that had to go into that shit because by the end, what they actually had, it was very unique, and I've never really seen it done anywhere else before. But the last couple series that we had 2 9-book series, Fate of the Jedi and Legacy of the Force. 9-book series each, 3 different authors, and each author would do a different one. So they'd all be writing them at the same time, coordinating all the shit that had to happen that was going to play out, but they'd release them basically every 4 months. So one person take a year to write each one. Mm-hmm. And so they'd, release boom, 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 boom. And although they felt a little bit different depending on which author it was, and maybe someone would focus on slightly different characters, the planning it took to have those play out the way it did is far beyond anything these fucks are doing right now in Star Wars. And yeah, I would have loved to see that. People in the different eras with their different expertise that had written for it before coming together and, having some grand plan.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Oh, well.
Yeah. Oh, well.
If Elon buys Disney and cleans house at Lucasfilm and will 100% not be woke, what EU story should be next? Who do you want to direct, write, and cast? I honestly would love to see a young Palpatine movie. With Plagueis and basically the yeah.
I mean, just sequels, but not shit. So I'm happy to do I would like to see the Throne trilogy adapted or whatever have you. Who would I want to direct, write, and cast, though? Oof, that's a tough one.
That's a heavy question right there.
J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and Colin Trevorrow.
God, dude. Charmin Obaid-Chinoy.
Christopher Nolan.
MauLer, what do you think of Arthur Morgan's story arc in Red Dead 2?
I have not played Red Dead 2, I'm afraid.
What? What? How is that possible?
Why is that? Why do you think I would have played it?
Well, one, it was one of the most popular games when it came out. And 2, I think it's pretty well revered as a game itself.
Oh yeah, people recommend it all the time, but yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet.
That surprises me. Now, Arthur Morgan's story kind of depends on some of your choices, though. So that's an interesting question.
Saw clips of meeting followers and nice positive vibes all around compared to the goobers who lurk in your mentions. Yeah, dude, nobody takes Twitter and shit seriously. You guys actually take those guys seriously? They're not real. They live in the Truman Show that they created. You missed the Pharaoh hat. Looks great. Looks amazing. You mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender live action at the start. They're butchering the animated series, and no wonder the original creators left.
You know, it's interesting. Somebody had me saying you mentioned that there was like a drama with the newest clip, like you're being sold a lie or something. And I was like, no, I saw it happening. I saw thousands of likes of different tweets arguing with each other about whether or not it was a good adaptation. I'm not invested in whether or not it is. I know people who are. So we'll see what happens.
Did you see Cameron Monaghan talking about playing Cal in live action? Doesn't just want to stand around, wants his character respected. Hi, Rags.
Yeah, he said he wants to do shit if it's the right thing.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
What's up, boys? Curious on Ryan and MauLer's thoughts on the notion that Marcia Lucas helped save Lucas' original cut of Star Wars. I've seen different takes.
I line up with Nerdonymous, I think. His video on it is fantastic. And it's something I wouldn't mind you guys seeing at some point. We don't need to see that on stream, but you should see it in general.
My gut instinct, not having watched that video, is that Marcia Lucas certainly was like a part of everything. And I think it's probably been a little bit overstated that she's the only reason why any of this fucking happened. That's my gut feeling about it.
That's my gut feeling too. She's the reason everything's great. It's like I'm sure she chopped it up real nice and made it look good, but you can't take it away that George is the one who created all of this shit, filmed it, shot it, because she arranged it nicely. That's amazing. That is a huge part of it. But I don't think it's like people are just completely discrediting George. Why?
Yeah, that seems to be almost what it feels like more often. Like that's the reason people are praising her, is to discredit George for some reason.
Yeah,
but what do you think, MauLer?
That is essentially the video's point of view. Is the hyper controversial conclusion it has is Marcia Lucas was an editor and she did her job and she did it well. The other two editors did their jobs and they did them well. George Lucas did his job and he did it well.
Exactly.
And George Lucas did a lot of work. And then the bulk of the video that really convinced me was a lot of things I've accepted as true and not true. A lot of casual statements have been made about how Star Wars was created, and that video proves them wrong. And I was like, oh shit, he's got sources too.
Damn. What's his name?
Man, if only he'd respond to an email.
Nerdonymous is how Star Wars was saved in the edit was saved in the edit. That's what his video is called, I think. Meaning, of course, the notion that it was saved in the edit is something that was rescued as a concept in editing by editing out information.
I see. Indeed.
I like the Revan book. It's controversial for some people, though.
Pretty hype for BB3. Much love, man. See you guys tomorrow. If you could only play one Star Wars game rest of your life, which one would it be?
God.
Probably just gone for like a really, really big one, I guess.
Probably Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
Probably Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough fucking question. I really like KOTOR too.
I love Battlefield too. Well, Battlefront, sorry.
Battlefront. Like the OG Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
2005 or whatever.
I mean, Force Unleashed can't go wrong. It's Shy Guy. What's up, dude? You're fun with chaos now? Okay, just wanted to say thanks for coming out to meet everyone, and thanks for the free saber. It's the best NeoPixel saber I have. I plan on buying Anakin Ep 2. Right on, dude. Thanks so much. Yeah. For everyone watching TheorySabers.com, we just dropped the MauL. You get 2 blades with one, and the Annie 2. So really, really great quality hilts. Go check them out right now. Just drop them. TheorySabers.com. Name suggestion: Rogue Squad. Fuck no.
Damn.
Question to panel: what would your ideal recast of the prequels look like? Fuck, there'd be no recast.
Well, some of them you have to recast, right? Some people either are dead or probably wouldn't come back. But
Charlton Copley. Who's that?
I mean,
he's a District 9 guy.
What was his name?
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance.
Yeah, like imagine we might have to recast Palpatine. He might be too old now, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't even know who we would pick to sort of nail that role as well as he did, but you know,
Me.
It's hard, man. It's like talking about these recasts for the Harry Potter fucking series.
Oh, dude, that's freaking like. How do you do that? Impossible.
Yeah, it's like how do you cast McGonagall and Snape and Hagrid and
No.
like more so it's for like the adults than it is for the kids.
Yeah,
like I'm
dude.
fine seeing some other fucking dude as Harry Potter. Like fuck Daniel Radcliffe, give me another Harry Potter. But for some of like the adults, it's tough for me to see other people.
It's gonna be
playing
impossible.
those
Snape?
roles.
Are you kidding? No way.
A lot of people want Adam Driver to play Snape, which I actually think would be a banger casting.
Sure.
Because Snape's described as ugly and Adam Driver's kind of fucking ugly. And he's also like the right age because the ages were completely off in the movies. But
I think Driver's a pretty good looking guy. No?
I think Adam Driver looks weird as shit. But I think that's why a lot of girls like him. I think he's one of those weird looking dudes that girls are like, wow, he's so weird. You don't think so?
He's got a unique face, that's for sure. It's different.
yeah.
A lot of girls in chat are going to back me up. They're like, he's the cute kind of ugly.
Well, there's two. There's a Smeagol cute kind of ugly, and then there's, I guess...
Smeagol's cute.
Smeagol?
He's cute.
What the fuck?
He's cute. We should write our own versions to compete with Disney. I have incredible ideas.
Or you can't even get your spaces in line.
Oh,
Fuck, dude.
I'd love to see your ideas, though.
Damn.
killed him.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's probably on a fucking mobile device or something, you know?
Some fucking Ryan.
I
Right
shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
He did say he doesn't want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah, that's right. All right. I don't know.
I am the Senate.
There. Rebel is mostly good, and that it ended at season 3 where Vader walks after killing Ahsoka. Worlds Between Worlds is lore breaking, and Thrawn's a joke.
Wasn't the end of season 2 when Vader and Ahsoka? Am I wrong with that?
I think there were 3 seasons. I didn't mind
There was
Rebels.
4
I didn't hate
seasons
it.
of Rebels.
I didn't hate it. I just think it's not as good as Clone Wars, and it was not my favorite. In my opinion, Ahsoka Thrawn is so bad that even General Trench can dump on him. He would have been awesome and scary if he was taken from the sequel legend. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. General Trench seemed more imposing than Thrawn, which is... All right.
True.
Yeah.
Imagine
It's what, like you
forces...
could craft like a super well written super chat that was like super funny, and I probably wouldn't chuckle, but that little one I laughed at.
Oh, he's sent that a million times on EFAP. I think it's because he doesn't know what else to say. Sometimes he'll say Molia straight, which is equally offensive.
Oh, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Imagine as the Allied forces are moving into Berlin, a blue-skinned Hitler is like, you know, in a way, I feel like we've won this war.
Oh, Dave, don't do it. Don't have him say shit like that when you bring him back again. It's going to be so memed. Don't do it.
What's the most offensive science fiction movie?
I want to hear what you guys' picks are before I say my controversial one.
I don't like most offensive science fiction movie. I think The Last Jedi probably did the most damage to my favorite science fiction fantasy fucking thing, Star Wars. So it'd be tough to not say that. I don't really know. I hated Force Awakens too, so.
Well, I mean, we got a wonderful selection of films here. Like, we could pick that. We could also pick, like, Star Trek Into Darkness. We could pick Blade Runner 2049. Some people aren't going to like that, but that's okay. It's still shit. Then we could pick Alien Resurrection, for example. Alien Covenant, Prometheus. Alien 3, even, to a lesser extent. I would probably inch toward picking fucking Interstellar. I hate that movie. But, you know what? There's a pick for everyone. You know, I think that's fair. I think I would have thought I would have liked it. I think I went to see it thinking I would like it.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Far worse than him dying, he didn't try to escape. Who?
Oh, who are we talking about at that point?
I don't know. I forgot.
Is it maybe Saul Guerrero?
Ryan, you killed me with that Yoda impersonation. LeMayo. Still laughing at that shit. Haha. Thoughts on Pedro Fantastic Four casting? That Marvel art was ass.
I don't like Pedro. As Reed Richards, it's gonna be tough for you to convince me that Pedro Pascal is the smartest person in the world.
That was the writing.
Yeah, I know. Like, obviously, the writing's gonna have a lot of work to do as well. Some of the other ones I don't mind. I don't mind Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, but I mean, I have no hope for really anything Marvel related. So it's tough to get too hyped or excited about it. But I'm glad you like my Yoda impersonation. I will see that. Obi-Wan.
Oh,
What's y'all's take on Vespa Chase in Boba series? Shit. Stupid.
so bad.
Is Hemlock gonna die in Bad Batch or get replaced? Probably die. Kenobi season 2. Say no to Darth Shaniqua. Who's Darth Shaniqua?
Reva.
Oh fuck.
That's all on you, buddy.
Oh god.
There's nothing I did.
God damn it. One EU book you'd like to see a movie. For me, it's Truce at Bakura, or maybe one of the Rogue or Wraith Squadron books.
Truce at Bakura that would be a crazy fucking movie. Takes place like days after fucking Return of the Jedi. I would love to see a proper adaptation of the Rogue Squadron books. That'd be phenomenal. I don't think that's what Patty Jenkins was going to give us.
I would have liked to have seen her movie.
I
Christopher Lee is Palpatine? Wait.
Mm.
What?
He's dead, so he can't do it.
He's not around.
But yeah, but also why?
I got my I got my Smeagol sister plush. Oh, my sister is a Smeagol plush.
My Smeagol.
MauLer, so much for your 2 hours, eh?
Yeah,
Almost 4 now.
we've almost done like 2 episodes in a row, at least by the way we.
See, this is how you get him, ladies and gentlemen. What I hated in the Ahsoka show is how they treated Thrawn, made him a throwaway villain with a dad bod.
I mean,
I don't know about
that's
the
the
dad bod.
good reason to hate him, is the throwaway villain part. An absolute fucking moron would be why most people didn't like the portrayal. But hey,
But also, he shouldn't have been built like that. Just to be
No.
real.
How do you feel about Chewie being killed by a moon in the new Jedi Order books?
One, spoiler alert, but two, I thought it was a fucking epic way for him to go out.
Wait, Chewie's dead?
yeah, he had a fist fight with a moon in boxing arena, and he lost.
We didn't have a fist fight, but a moon was coming down on this planet of Serpendal, and they were trying to evacuate people. And
Wait.
Go ahead.
I'm very confused.
Yeah,
Dead.
Chewbacca dies around 20 years after the movies. The first book in the new
Jedi. Oh, sorry.
first book in the new Jedi Order, Vector Prime, Chewbacca dies, and it really fucks up Han. Like, it really fucks up Han, and he blames Anakin for it. Anakin Solo, his youngest child, because Chewie actually goes out to save Anakin, and he saves his life and brings him back in. And as the moon is crashing down and the atmosphere is fucking bursting into flame and winds are getting insane because all the different pressures, they can't get to Chewie in time. And Anakin has to make the decision while Han's sitting there, like looking, trying to get trying to get to Chewie. Anakin has to make the decision to take off and save everybody there, including himself and his dad and the hundreds of people they have on the Falcon, and leave Chewie. And like, Han sees Chewbacca as like the moon's coming down, like fists raised, roaring at the moon that's fucking coming down. And that's how Chewbacca dies.
Interesting.
And Anakin feels like this immense guilt over it. And Han for a couple books gets to like a dark place. And, you know, he did, again, this is the way you like show these characters have flaws and can have failures and things like that, and still not completely destroy their entire character. So there's a couple books where he doesn't really know what to do with himself, and he's putting more blame on Anakin than he should. And Anakin takes that guilt, and Anakin carries that guilt with him literally the fucking rest of his life. And Han feels so regretful over a lot of it, but it takes
Yeah.
another kind of family emergency where he realizes he needs to be strong for everybody before he really comes back and gets fully over it.
How'd you feel about the whole Yaddle thing? With how Yaddle sacrificed herself for Anakin. And like he
Yaddle?
felt remorse for that too, yeah. Yaddle.
Again, I think that it was done super well in the comic books, and
Yeah.
death matters, right? I feel like we talk about this a lot. I feel like deaths can be very important and very impactful, not just for like a conclusion of a character arc, but to demonstrate the importance of sacrifice for the impact it might leave on different people. And I didn't know like significant attachment to Yaddle, you know, fucking she looks like a fucking girl Yoda, whatever. But the way they did in the comics, it's like it made an impact and it was important for Anakin's arc and everything and the things that he learned in the Clone Wars. And I don't know, like I was cool with it.
Spaceballs is better than all Star Wars sequel movies. I agree. Interstellar is ass.
That guy's right.
Did you know Ryan's favorite Chinese dishes? All right.
You didn't want to say it?
No. Ryan, thoughts on 1992 space movie? Google it.
Brian, don't do it.
I already know what that movie is. I've not reviewed it yet, but if I ever do, I'll put out a review on my Marcapolis live channel.
Name the show Rebel Outpost. We're not rebels. Theory and MauLer. What do you think? Well, I guess we are rebels. What do you think of Cyril? I think it's fucking lame. Horrible
Damn.
character.
Complete opposite. I think it's great that we finally have a lower level sort of drone in the Empire that believes somewhat in the order and function of order, I guess, and sort of security. And it was really cool to see someone underneath someone who's underneath someone who's underneath someone, basically just pointing out, yeah, 2 guys died and nothing's being done about it. And then his superior being like, that's how things run. We just don't make any waves, and then our sector doesn't get any extra eyes, and then thus, you know, everything nice can run smoothly. And all of the efforts he's put into making things more aware has spiraled out of control. But it looks like he's still, by the end of the season, committing to the Empire is order, makes things better, and that he wants to rise in the ranks and stuff. I find that extremely compelling, and I'm fucking glad we finally got a character like that, because it took ages.
If I see another bowl of cereal, I'm going to fit.
Okay.
Bowl of cereals, screws, and bricks. That's what does it.
Someone said just go back to Andor. I will. Once they release season 2, I'll be there. With
Yeah,
all,
dude, Star
my
Grift
banner.
when Andor 2 comes out is going to be the most probably poppin' show because of you and me.
Yeah. And then
That's
Ryan's
gonna be great.
sitting there like, Mom, Dad, please.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, you guys, like, usually I'm the one with like some fucking outrageous opinion on something. That's gonna be you guys at the opposites and me kind of in the middle for that one. Probably. We haven't seen season 2 yet. But.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I reckon you guys will like season 2, because they're probably going to make big things happen. There'll be colors in it.
Evade.
Yeah, Red will be in it for sure.
You think Vader's going to be in it?
Oh, I don't know about Vader. Maybe.
I don't know.
I think Krennic's going to be in there.
K2SO will be in it, right? Probably.
It has to be. And they're doing time jumps in it too, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a reason
I
why
hope
the
Wade is-
L... Sorry?
Wade. I hope Wade turns up in it.
Oh,
at some
you're
point.
your best friend.
Wade is pretty cool. One of the best deaths in Star Wars, I would say.
Oh, yeah. So, is there a reason why the L in MauLer's name is capitalized? It's a super tiny detail, but it's always made me curious for some reason.
I think the original reason I ever did it was I just thought it looks different. But in retrospect, probably shouldn't have done it, because a lot of people think it's MauLer as a result. It literally is just a flourish that I thought could be interesting. There's no like grander meaning or purpose to it than that.
Yeah, I think it looks better than if it was just MauLer. A little more
Thank you.
enunciation on the Hey, biggest super chat of the night from Crit Nature. We thank you for that. Hey, Theory, watch you since 2017. Just wanted to come in and thank you and what you're doing. When does the comic coverage come back? I also would enjoy for Ryan to be a part of it with his knowledge of the EU and maybe MauLer as a voiceover. Oh man, I'd love to collab with the boys on some comics and stuff. That'd be cool. Ryan, would you ever want to make content together?
Yeah, maybe it depends on what it is. Like that shit's a lot of work. You know
Like
that you
EU
made them for
shit.
fucking years. Like
Yeah.
making those comic book videos is a lot of fucking work.
You know
A lot
what,
of
bro?
editing.
I've seriously gotten so fast at them, I could do it pretty quick. I don't
pretty
like. I used to
crazy.
have to write a script and all that. Now I could just like record as I'm reading through the comic and just like come up with shit on the
Oh
fly,
yeah.
and then edit it because the pictures are already there. So it's actually very quick. So if you ever want to, do some lore stuff, man, I'm down.
We could look into doing something like that. Might be cool.
Yeah, maybe you can do some like lore explanations for videos or something, like some character that you find interesting.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
I did a couple of those back in the early start of my channel, and I was like, God, it's so much work. Yeah.
It is, but you know what? I have amazing editors. I just record now. I don't have to do it myself anymore. Even though I think the way I edit is, well, it's like to my design, like what I imagine in my head. But I have guys that know my style now, and so they do a great job. And I just record it, boom, send it off, and they deliver it back. And then I do the music, and I do like some other little edits in there. But for the most part, man, it's pretty streamlined. If you ever
Awesome.
want to get on that, let me know.
Let's do it.
What's up, Nova? Krista Nova?
I don't think that's Krista.
Look, it's fucking Carl. Yeah, I know. All right, well, that's the end of the soupies. I'm really hungry. As you guys probably noticed, my energy started to dip around the Timothy Dalton conversation.
The grift is complete.
Yeah, literally.
What a terrible time to get low energy. Timothy Dalton's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, that was just around the time where I'm like, all right, I need food. I'm hungry. I haven't been sleeping much lately. I don't know what's going on. Too excited.
Yeah.
Excited to sleep.
Yeah. Need to crack a Dr. Pepper like Asman. Is his name Ben Swallow? Oh, Ben Swallow.
Ben Swallow. Now we
Ben
know why him and
Swallow.
Luke had such a contentious relationship.
Ah, fuck, dude. Jesus. Can you send a recording voiceover or something like that?
For the intro, say, and Ryan.
As awkward as possible. And Ryan.
And Ryan.
Like, Kal-El, no.
Kal-El, no. Okay.
And Ryan.
We'll just say and me.
And me.
Yeah, dude, just say and me.
That'd be good, actually.
With Theory and MauLer.
And me. Yeah.
Bitch.
Then Pharaoh Ryan comes on screen.
Oh,
Next
yeah.
stream will be next Monday, man. Well, I got the watch party tomorrow with you guys, so stay tuned for that.
Also, I don't
Ryan,
sound like Elon Musk, do I?
I don't know.
You?
I wouldn't have thought that. That's the first I've heard of it.
Man.
Not really.
It's not the impression I got. I got to do a quick plug.
Vent for 2. Do you need some preparation H, MauLer?
Yes.
That's a good one.
I that's that just makes me think of Austin Powers again, where they have all the preparations related to the planet. Like, this is preparation age.
Yeah. Seth Green.
Hi,
Yeah.
boys. Announcing the drop of the 2 new sabers. If you want to check them out, the Theory Sabers Instagram is popping, as well as we got the website not fully operational, but we got the 3 for sale. If you want to go grab one of your choice or all of them. Some guys are grabbing all of them right now. So go to theorysabers.com or Theory Sabers Instagram. If you have any questions, we got our help team answering your questions 24/7. I'm lying. They answer it once a day, usually. But I'm 24/7 because sometimes I'm up till 3-4 a.m. at the help desk, just like answering online, all you guys' stuff. So, yeah, go check it out. We appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. Is there anything you guys want to announce?
Nope.
I want to announce that MauLer does a show called EFAP.
You liar.
All right.
And I also want someone to send a super chat in that says, Mikey Angelo for Aussie not 299 says, Ryan is a spitting image of Jonathan Majors. Well, I am a
Okay.
great man.
All right. What's the upper limit you guys are willing to tolerate in regards to the extent of force powers? The upper limit.
For me, as weird as this sounds, I would probably want maxed out of whatever the highest power we saw in the OT plus 50% of that on top, and that would be a special circumstance. I know that sounds really weird, but like you probably know what I mean instead of having to explain it further than that. Yoda moving that X-Wing was significant shit, okay? That's already teetering on the top move as far as I'm concerned.
There we go. Another 4-hour conversation coming up.
Hey, that's my POV. Ryan, you go. We can do this in under a minute, I'm sure.
I'm willing to accept a lot more than that. Obviously, like even the prequels we have, I feel like more than that, don't you?
All right, so listen to this. I'm gonna debunk MauLer's thing in like 2 seconds here. So, Dagobah had a dark side force nexus. It was affecting Yoda the entire time. He was super weak. He also didn't use his force powers for the entirety of his time on Dagobah because he didn't want to alert the Empire. So he was rusty as shit. So
out of practice.
Yeah, very out of practice.
I think Obi-Wan was out of practice. Any of that propaganda.
That's why Yoda probably went there for the fucking dark side force nexus to shield his presence.
He did go there. Yeah.
It's tough. It kind of does feel like if you get in a situation where you have to up and up and up and up it and like become more impressive or more impressive, you get to a crazy situation.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should have people pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky like in Force Unleashed. However, do I think that you can provide a little bit of guidance to it as it's crashing? Yeah, a little bit. I think that that's like believable, right?
Why not?
Yeah, fuck that.
But then you also have to ask the question, okay, if there's some kind of something that's giving you a power boost, whether it's a dark side force entity that's trying to control you and tap into you, like we saw with Exar Kun and Kip Duran, and what he was able to do, pulling the Sun Crusher out, shit like that. Those are questions you got to ask.
It's fun. It's fun to think about.
Brian, what was the prequel power you think, like, debunks any kind of excessive power from?
I think that what Yoda is able to do by stopping that shit from landing on them in the moment, in the heat of battle like that, is far more impressive than very slowly lifting the X-Wing out of there. Like, incredibly more so.
I think the X-Wing's heavier than the rocks that he stops on himself, and then the thing that's falling, it's falling slowly, so he's able to make you. And we have no idea how heavy
falling
it is.
Slowly. It's falling at whatever
Watch the fucking scene, Ryan.
It's falling slowly because he starts to arrest it. It's falling at its normal, whatever, like 9.8 meters per second, whatever fucking gravity accelerates on Geonosis. I don't fucking know off the top of my head.
Dooku crushes it and it starts to rip off and fall. That's how it works. So he's got time, and you have no idea how much it weighs.
He doesn't have that much time.
We know how much fucking rocks weigh. You know how much an X-Wing's gonna weigh. You don't know what the fucking tower was made of. How much it weighs.
I think that tower probably weighs probably a little bit less than an X-Wing, but like approximately close. And that's like in a moment he fucking arrests that and stops it from fucking going in the fucking heat of battle.
No,
as opposed to sitting there and like thinking about it for a while and
what does that even mean?
And make fucking really slow cinematic fucking start.
So when I was a kid from the swamp, which is even heavier than an X-Wing.
When I was a kid, I was like, oh, it made perfect sense because look, all Dooku does is he just collapses the base of it so it falls over. Yoda is not only freaking just lifting the thing up as if it's stationary. He is now lifting it up as it's falling. So it's like fucking probably like 10, 20 times the amount of weight because of the gravity. So he's just like, he full on just drops his shit and just goes and then moves it over a bit and then relaxes.
That to me was more impressive than the X-Wing move, period.
Well, yeah, but remember what I said was add 50% on, and that would account for that, I think, just fine.
Also, we could say his powers were draining because he was totally focused on combat. Dooku could fucking throw his lightsaber at Yoda in that moment, and he had to keep like his force shield up, or he had to keep his like senses up, or his speed up, or whatever. And he was drained from the fight when he was fighting Dooku, where he was just flipping around like a freaking frog.
And as we talked about before, he is like, if you want to imagine that Yoda basically ages at like 0.1 times the amount of time a normal person does. His 900 years, basically fucking divide that by 10, basically would be 90 years old in normal human years. He's fucking 88 years old then, even when the fight with Dooku. All right. He's an old man.
Yeah. Sure. I don't disagree with that. But besides, I don't buy into this, like, the older you are, the less you're able to use your force powers anyway.
No, but your body starts to deteriorate.
your body starts to deteriorate and your cells start to deteriorate. And that's, again, fucking midichlorians are based on the amount of midichlorians you have in your fucking body. Depends on the health of your cells.
It's like an old battery.
I mean, I don't want to get into midichlorians with you guys. Okay, I'm going to allow you guys to have that. I'm not. I'm one of those OG fads. Okay, that finds that shit cringe, but that's okay.
Don't leave me hanging, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
All right.
Boom.
Yeah. All right. Boom. All right. We'll see you guys later. We love you. Hope you have a great night.
I think it's a good question, though, and I understand where MauLer's coming from.
How do you embrace nerd culture so well? I struggle sometimes and hinder my small passions from flourishing. What do you mean so well? What does that mean? We just do our thing.
Embrace nerd culture.
He's British. Answer his question, MauLer.
Yeah, you'll.
You just it's just talking with friends about stuff you love. I don't know how to explain embracing nerd culture.
Because people outside don't like it, or I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, find people who are as interested in it as you are, I suppose, or at least somewhat. Because they said struggle sometimes and hinder my small passions from flourishing. Is that because of other people, or just that you? I guess I'd need more specifics to give any kind of advice. You know?
Yeah, I guess like, what are your passions? Like, do you get so wrapped up in Star Wars that you don't do anything else in your life? I guess that's how I kind of read that. I don't know.
I would say it doesn't matter what
man.
anyone else thinks. Just enjoy what you like, talk about what you like, and you'll garner a group of like-minded individuals from that, because they'll find you. Megadeth or oh, fuck you. I like Dave Mustaine, dude. I know, even though he did all the stuff for Metallica, I'm probably gonna go Megadeth.
I would probably go Metallica, but I love them both.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have either of them without Dave Mustaine. Excited for Bad Batch Season 3. Also, MauLer's a baller. In theory, if you could kill one Bad Batch character off, who would it be? Probably...
What a great question.
Fuck, I don't know. Probably...
If you could kill one of these team members, who would it be? I would kill Omega.
Yeah, I'd kill Omega.
We were like a split second from ending the stream.
I know. Fuck me.
Yeah, meters per second squared. I'm sorry. I got amped.
How do you embrace... Oh, sent it twice. God bless y'all for the grifting. I'm about an hour into the show and loving it. The disagreements and full conversations are... Why didn't Yoda just push Obi-Wan and Annie away from the pillar?
Because he's fucking 88 years old. All right, he's 880 years old. So
you guys like
so
maybe we'll have
his brain doesn't work as quickly.
Maybe we'll have that conversation one day. But like, yeah, for the record, the prequels are full of these problems.
Well, for the record, it's because he didn't think about it.
He didn't think of that split second, bro. He's just like, fuck, I gotta stop this whole thing.
Okay, I'll just use that excuse for every dumb shit thing that happens in the sequels. That'll work out.
He didn't want to risk them getting squished, so he just is like, you know what, I'll take it from here.
Yeah, because you know why? Because if he'd have pushed him out of the way, that thing would have fucking hit the ground and then rolled onto him. That's why.
Could have. Or Dooku could have done something else.
Then pull him directly to him.
He's in the danger zone.
Why don't you go stop coping? Come on.
No, because Dooku could have just done something to like throw.
Dooku could have done anything no matter what. He could have done something the whole time.
No.
Yes.
That's why he was dividing his force power so that he would protect himself as well.
Uh-huh.
Cheers, Theory. Was great to finally meet you in Orlando. Glad you brought on MauLer and Ryan to add some gravitas to the show. Thanks for inspiring so many to get into the YouTube game. Shopping a new Saber. PSJ will complain about this super chat too. Jay complains about it. You should have heard what he was saying last night in the car with me and Gina, man. We were both laughing at him.
Nice. What's up, Valiant?
Yeah. Anyways, hey, thanks, man. I hope you choose a Saber. The full site will be ready in a few weeks, probably like 3. And oh my god, if you get rid of one thing, what would you get rid of from Canon? Reva stabbing. I get rid of fucking all of it.
Get rid of all of it.
What's Vader's Megadeth song? I don't know. You fucking figure it out. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
See you, folks.